Hey, welcome back everyone to the Black Brain Trust. This is episode 214. I'm here with my co-facilitator, Dollar Will.
What's happening, everybody?
All right.
There's no everybody. There's
Please
no
hit the like
everybody
button.
here. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
They're coming in. They're coming
Okay.
in. Please hit the like button as you come in. Share the video if possible. Docket in the description beneath the video for you to follow along with. Just as an FYI, we're not certified financial planners. If you want a certified financial planner, look up cfp.net and find one in your area. We do not give out financial advice here.
Yep. It's just some brothers with an
All
opinion. You two brothers with an opinion.
right, we'll give you guys 90 seconds to come in. Hit the like button as you come in, and we'll get started.
Maybe in the future we'll get some polka music or
No, no,
some
no,
some.
no, no music. Last time we got fired for that type of stuff, so no, none of that.
Okay. No music.
Yeah.
No Milli
Brother Truth be
Vanilli.
told, what's going on? Brother Truth be told, what's going on?
Yeah.
Yeah,
All
people are coming
right.
in, so yeah, they're coming in, but real quick. So I'll give you guys another 60 seconds to come in. Nine people
Yeah, we
watching.
won't.
Hit the like button if you're not going to participate in the chat. You got to get yourself an avatar, brother. Truth be told. Lionel Gant, what's going on?
What's happening, Lionel? Lionel been pumping out those crypto videos.
Yeah, that's how he pumps and dumps.
He's keeping everybody up on the info on that sector. Yeah, I just got an email. I don't think I want to say it publicly yet, but there's another brother in the manosphere getting ready to launch a channel. I'm gonna see if I can get his permission to. I'm gonna push him. I want to say it because I want to. I think if I say it, it'll really, really push him to do it. But he just sent me a message, an email saying he's gonna launch a channel pretty soon, and it'll be great. It'll be great if he does. You know. So between, I guess, this corner of the manosphere, that would be, including Lionel and stuff he's doing on his other channel, and my channel, that would be three. You know,
Mm-hmm.
and there's some other people I want to kind of prod to maybe you know do some more financial stuff because it's a lot of people investing in different types of ways. They have different styles. You know. So it's just there are lots of different ways to do this thing, and having multiple people out there, people can gravitate to the style and maybe even the person or personality that will facilitate their learning. Because in the end, it's about learning. You know, you learn what one person has to offer, and you make your way around, and then at the end, you go through the circuit and you figure out what style suits you best. Hello, raining
Hey, what's
woman.
going on, Adrian Thomas? What's going on, Adrian Thomas? All right,
Yo,
let's get
Adrian.
to the first article.
All right.
All right, let's get to the first one. New York Times. 4 years of college, $0 in debt. How some countries make higher education affordable. Morehouse College's 2019 graduates don't have to worry about crushing student debt since the billionaire investor Robert F. Smith pledged last week to pay it all off. Neither do graduates of colleges in countries that offer affordable tuition and generous stipends. As young adults wrestle with student debt in the United States, where it has reached $1.5 trillion, many recent graduates in some countries are debt free. When we ask people around the world what they paid for their higher education and how they financed it, we received nearly 800 responses from nearly 40 countries. Below is a section of responses which show government policies can shape the personal and professional choices that young adults make as they begin their careers. The responses have been edited and condensed. Denmark. I attended the Technical University of Denmark from 2008 to 2013. All university is paid for by taxes. Books are maybe $500 per semester, lower than when I studied in the United States, but still a big expense. Students who don't live with their parents get a monthly stipend from the government of about $900 for living costs. Some people get more if you have a child, for example. If you become pregnant during university, you get a year of parental leave, and you continue receiving the stipend. The stipend goes up for up to 6 years, 1 year more than a typical bachelor's and master's degree. You can work part time up to a certain limit and still keep the stipend. But if you work too much and earn too much money, you have to pay back the stipend. When we study abroad, we get to bring the tuition with us, and we apply the scholarships to pay other expenses like visas and plane tickets. I studied in Oregon for 6 months in 2011 and didn't spend any of my own money. Taiwan. I graduated from Taiwan University in 2012 with two majors. My tuition was about $375 per semester. The amount was just a fraction of my parents' monthly salary, so they helped pay. Because I didn't go into debt for college, eh, who should, anyways? I didn't feel pressure to get a job immediately or feel the need for a high paying one. Salary wasn't my concern. I could do whatever I wanted for my career. Undergraduate tuition was $3,000, loans zero. In Ireland, the government subsidizes undergraduate college education for European Union citizens. So technically, my college degree was free. However, you are required to pay a student contribution to your university, which works out to 3,000 euros annually. So I paid 12,000 euros for my degree. I was extremely fortunate that my parents had put aside college money since I was born, so they covered my tuition from 2015 to 2019. They also paid for my rent and groceries. I worked throughout my degree to supplement additional costs. Because the cost of living in Dublin is super high, I was lucky to live in an accommodation that was pretty cheap, albeit gross. Because my parents paid for my degree, it cost its cost did not affect my day-to-day life, but I definitely live frugally. Um, so I'm not going to go through all of them because I'm pretty familiar with how the system works around the globe, and I've heard, you know, I work with people who have come from different countries and have had similar experiences. So I think the problem in the United States is that there's too much bureaucracy involved to rationalize why this is even happening. There's too much capitalism involved in education. There's this idea that if you borrow student loans, you need to just pay them off. Well, if they're paying off a mortgage through their student loans, then guess what? They're not going to be able to buy a house either. So while people from other countries, especially China, are running laps around the United States, which is supposed to be a superpower, they're pumping out millions of STEM graduates every year, while we're not pumping out even a quarter of that. And you tack on something like racism if you're an African American. um, which is structural and denies you all these opportunities, you're going to have a pretty sparse society that one doesn't have the skills need to go forward, and two is saddled with so much debt. It's it's almost like indentured servitude for the most part. Dollar, will you have anything you want to add
I
to this? Will you have anything you want to add to this?
I think you hit it, man. You hit it. I mean, um, it's a flaw in, I guess, this form of capitalism, of of course everybody knows I'm the liberal, pro-black, of course. Everything cannot be privatized. A lot of conservatives are, all in favor of, in some ways, and everything can't be, you cannot subject things like healthcare and education to a profit motive,
Mm,
because the return on your investment for those types of things like healthcare and education come years later, decades later. Early childhood education, uh, prenatal care for pregnant women, all those things, you don't get the payoffs to decades later. But if you want to have a society, a country, a civilization, you have to make those investments in people.
mhm.
So yeah, you hit it. You hit it. I
Yeah, and
can't.
a lot of people
Yeah.
will come.
When we get serious, when we have to see healthcare and education as national security issues. Period. Because I mean,
Absolutely.
you said it many types of many ways. You said it. These are competitive issues. You can't be competitive if you're not healthy and if you're not skilled. But even in our case, in some cases, if you're not literate, I mean, we should not accept that America is not leading the world in literacy.
You have some feedback on
You
your
got
end,
some
Dollar.
feedback on your end, though.
Uh,
Yeah. So, like Dollar, what was
Dollar,
saying?
what was saying?
Yeah, you have a lot of feedback. I'm not sure you need to log off and log back on.
okay, go for it. That's what I'll do.
So, like I was saying before, was that and like Dollar Will also has co-signed that basically the disenfranchisement of a group of people in a country that's supposed to be hyper capitalist. America is a hyper capitalist society. It is very high paced in its attempt to have a return on investment for products and goods and services. Well, if you saddle people with that much debt coming out the gate, and they're trying to compete with foreigners who have who are paying $375 a semester for tuition, like, and some of them don't pay any tuition in their country, you have to ask yourself, how are you going to compete against something like that? You got China pumping out millions of STEM graduates. You got Russia, who puts out some of the best rocket systems on the planet. Constantly pumping out, uh, uh, STEM graduates. That go right into aerospace and planetary science, space exploration. The European Union subsidizes their education of their people. Germany is a powerhouse in Europe in terms of manufacturing and production. Uh, you have to ask yourself, how is this possible? How come they can get it right, but the United States seems to keep getting it wrong, and they're supposed to be a superpower, and these other countries are supposed to be, you know, um, secondary to the United States or to the West. Uh, it's just mind-boggling. De, you have anything you want to add to this?
Yeah, good evening, everybody. Yep. Um, the problem with our system is that we work for the corporations. We work for the corporate. The country work for the corporation. We as the people work for the corporation. Whereas
Mm,
in say Europe or China, the
mhm,
corporation work for the country. and the people. They still make a profit in China and in Europe, but the people are taken care of. If you look at Germany, everybody's got health care, and nobody has to worry about if a woman's going to have a baby. Let's use that example. She has a baby. That baby will be taken care of. They got good health care. Here in America, they don't care as long as the hospital get paid when you have that baby. You know, when you go to school, if you don't have the money to pay for your education, who cares? You know, you fall by the wayside. And then if you do borrow, able to borrow that money, you're saddled with that debt for the rest of your life, and you can never be productive um, as a human being. You can never be you in say in Germany, the healthcare system you get paid for your healthcare. Your tuition in Europe is lower than here. So when you get out, you don't have $100,000 to pay back to somebody who you were enslaved to for the rest of your life. Whereas
Mm-hmm.
the European has more freedom. We are enslaved to the corporation, and the country itself is enslaved to the corporation. So we all the country could be falling apart even though the corporation is thriving. Whereas in other countries, the country has to thrive in order for the corporation to thrive.
Mm-hmm. Hey, we got 30 people watching, only 21 likes. If you're not going to participate in the chat, and you just want to listen, just please hit the like button. Woman of the past, how are you doing? She says, hello. I don't think you can compare Germany with the U.S. You can't compare it directly, but you can look at the policies, and we're looking at policies, right? So Germany has about roughly what, 80 million people, 75 million people at best. Um, the United States has 300 million, but when you really start to break down the working class people, um, and you think about the cost of education, you have to start making comparisons on policies, not so much on people. Um, Policy means that there's an initiative set up for the best interest of the people. What I'm seeing in the United States is bad policy, and what I'm seeing in Germany is good policy, which is how they're able to maintain civil stability in their country. In the United States, you have millennials marching um, on Washington and other cities, and you have Antifa, you have the far right in the United States. You have all of these people who are just dissatisfied with the policies of the United States. And when you think about education, post-secondary education, or even down to grade school, the problems is that we're seeing is that it costs 10 times as much to go to school to get the same level of education. Electrical engineering in the United States is not that much different than electrical engineering in Taiwan or Ireland. How come there's such a stark difference in cost? It's all the same education.
To add one point to what you said, Mike,
Hmm.
you can compare the two. If you look at Germany, their manufacturing base,
Hmm.
they didn't move their manufacturing base to Beijing or to Indonesia or Malaysia or Philippines. They might have started manufacturing Mercedes in China, but they still manufacturing Mercedes in Berlin or Dusseldorf, or they are still producing. The foundation of the country is still there. Whereas in order to increase our profit, our corporation will go anywhere. They will divest out of the US, let the country die in order to make a profit.
Hmm. All right, this next one is from Barron's. Amazon Web Services is worth $500 billion, analyst estimates. Amazon is currently the second largest company in the world by market capitalization, just over $900 billion, a little behind Microsoft. What some people might find surprising is a huge chunk of that value apparently comes not from its e-commerce, media, and uh, gadget businesses, but instead from Amazon Web Services, the company's vast cloud computing operation. Were it to stand alone, were it a standalone business, AWS might be one of the 10 most highly valued companies in the world. So Amazon Web Services, and we've talked about this on um, cloud computing hangout for Black Tech Talk. Amazon is a 800-pound gorilla in the cloud computing space. And I tell you guys who are listening to this, who want to get into IT, you got to know AWS. You got to get your AWS certs. You got to get your cloud computing certs. You don't need an actual degree. You just need the certifications to actually get in this field. It might be beneficial for you to go to college and get a degree, like an associate's at a community college, for networking. But overall, AWS is the 800-pound gorilla that has to be paid attention to. Microsoft is closing the gap on them, and they probably will close that gap by late 2020. But as it stands right now, AWS is the major player in the business. Dollar Will, you're back. You have anything you want to add to this?
I didn't really hear it because I was having issues. I took a while to get his foot off my neck.
You're having a lot more feedback than what you had before, so I'm not sure what's going on with your microphone.
Oh my God. Okay. And
Mm. All right, let me jump to the next article. All right, next one is from Reuters.com. U.S. auto sales seen slipping 2.1% in May. J.D. Power, LMC Automotive. U.S. auto sales are expected to drop 2.1% in May from the year ago period, as higher prices keep buyers at bay, according to industry consultants J.D. Power and LMC Automotive. The consultancies see total U.S. vehicle sales of about 1.56 million units in the month, with retail sales of new vehicles expected to drop 3.1% to 1,226,800 units. Higher prices have led to a soft demand for new vehicles, outweighing the strong economy and record high consumer sentiment that otherwise should boost growth in U.S. auto sales. Manufacturers are responding with larger discounts to take advantage of Memorial Day weekend, which is one of the busiest car buying periods of the year. Thomas King, Senior Vice President of Data and Analytics Division, J.D. Powers. Average incentive spending per unit to date in May is $3,722, up from $3,697 last year. Sales of used vehicles, however, remain strong, offsetting challenges in new vehicle operations for many dealers. For manufacturers, despite lower volumes, higher prices are delivering a rise in net revenue. New vehicles prices are on pace to reach $33,457 in May, a month high and up more than 4% from last year, primarily due to weaknesses at lower price points, according to the report. Looking forward, elevated inventory levels remain an issue that will only be corrected through production cuts or higher incentives, King said. LMC Automotive, however, maintained its forecast for total light vehicle sales of 16.9 million units in 2019, a 2.5% fall from 2018. So I've talked about this before on this hangout. My coworker went to Toyota and got a brand new Toyota Camry left over on the lot from previous year for $1,000 down, $49 a month. That's how desperate these dealerships are. That's how desperate these auto manufacturers are to move these vehicles. Whatever it takes to move the vehicle, do it. Many people aren't buying vehicles anymore because it's actually cheaper to use Lyft than Uber. So you know that's where they're seeing a lot of their declines. Now the sales may move because these new ride-sharing platforms, such as Uber and Lyft and these others, are basically saying, yeah, we need new vehicles to be a part of the business. So they go out and they go buy a new vehicle just to Uber and Lyft in or rideshare in, and that's where you're seeing the growth for dealerships of moving new vehicles off the lot too. But I say all that to say that if you actually do your research and negotiate very well, you can actually walk away with a brand new vehicle at a cost that is almost pennies on the dollar if you know how to negotiate. DE, do you have any intention on buying a new vehicle anytime soon?
No, bruh. Right now, I'm waiting for a used Forerunner. If I can find a four-wheel drive Forerunner now, I'm going to buy a used one. I'm not down here, bro. They're in Florida. They're finding every little piece of land that they can find to put a new car on. That's what they're doing. And dealers are all over the country. Actually, they're complaining that if they want an SUV, they have to buy a certain number of cars that are not selling in order to get that SUV. That's how the manufacturers are doing it.
Hmm. Yeah, it's a good point that you bring up that dealerships are trying to park their cars everywhere that possible. Um, I've seen the same thing. They're using up vacant lots and you know parking garages to park their cars in. They're doing whatever they can to move these vehicles. I probably would never buy another used vehicle going forward. Um, my last vehicle was brand new, and it's amazing. But my next vehicle going forward will be brand new. I just have no interest at this point at paying high prices for a used car that I can get a new car for.
Well, it's not. In my case, I don't know. Maybe in 5 years down the road, um,
Mhm.
the price of gas is going to be certain level, and whatever level is going to be. But electric vehicles are going to be more um, preferable. When they improve the batteries, longer distance you can ride. Instead of 500 kilometers, you can ride 700, 800 kilometers.
Mhm.
Then, if I buy a new car now, and 5 years down the road, I gotta buy a new car, I don't feel it going through that process. Because I don't drive my car new anyway. I'm retired. I drive my car about, I don't know, probably about 10, 20 miles a week. That's about it.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, at this point, uh, buying a new car would be out of necessity. You just had to get a new car. And then when you take into consideration, cars are lasting longer now than what they did before. Like before, back in the '80s, if you bought a Hyundai, that thing would have broke down on you, or a Yugo or something like that. But now, pretty much all cars are on the same level in terms of longevity. Hyundai's have 100,000 mile warranty on them now, a 10-year warranty. Can't really beat that. They're giving their cars away. If you can't get a car from any other dealership, you can damn sure bet your bottom dollar you can get a Hyundai or a Kia. and it's going to be just as good as the competition, in my experience. Brand new Hyundais and Kias, very much on par with a Honda or a Toyota.
Yeah, look, even Ford too. There's a Ford deal not far from here. They send out ads to me. Come out, come out, get $8,000 off a Taurus.
Hmm.
The Taurus is selling for 22,000. I get 8,000 off. Trading my car, and I'm getting it for almost nothing. But I don't want a Taurus. But I can get a new car.
Hmm. And Dollar Will, can you hear us?
Yeah, it's probably. I'm probably just gonna have to keep muting when I'm not talking. I can see it on. It's a Chrome thing, I guess. But are you hearing feedback when you talk now? When I leave the mic open, you probably will talk and see how it goes.
No, I'm not hearing any feedback now, but I
Okay.
do hear like mic pops on your end.
All right. We'll make it.
Hmm. You have
I
anything you
don't.
want to add to about U.S. auto sales being down?
I don't see no end in sight. No time soon. I mean, some people. I mean, sales are down, but if people are going to get those deals that you were talking about before, that's going to make that's going to drive a hard bargain, for people to walk away from some of the deals that's out there, you know. So that's a tough one. I mean, if you get in a car, I mean, the kinds of cars that you can get now for $25,000, 20 to 30. You might not be able to get that deal, say 3 years from now. So I don't know. That's going to be a tough one. People that wrestle with that. But
Yeah,
no,
it's just one of those things, man. Yeah, it's one of those things when you think about what it costs to buy a used car, and then you factor in the warranty on that used car might be 20,000 miles left. You might put on 10,000 miles a year, so that warranty might be good for the next 16 months or so, if that. And then you factor in what you got to buy for a new warranty if you want to have full coverage of that vehicle, and then the used parts, right? Because you got to change that. You got to do a water pump change at some point. I don't care what kind of car it is. You're going to do a water pump change on that thing after about 80,000 miles. You got to factor in the rust that's going to come into it. All these other attributes of devaluing of the vehicle, it just doesn't make a whole lot of sense to spend. I have a friend, a coworker, who had she purchased a Honda CRV for $20,000 used. I said you could have bought a whole new Honda CRV for roughly $2,000 more, or a few $1,000s more. Why would you pay the same amount of money for a used CRV when you could have got a brand new CRV for the same money? What's the value in that? People are not doing their research. They're buying off of impulse. Instant gratification. They like the new car smell. They like the certain color or certain feature of a car, and they're willing to pay for this used vehicle, but then the vehicle really doesn't have any value now. She's banged it up a few times. It needs brakes. It needs another oil change and needs an airbag or something like that. It's mind-boggling that people are not doing their research and not sitting down and saying, "Hey, I can get an if I finagle enough, I can get a brand new CRV, or even not even a CRV, a Kia Sportage, which is roughly the same character vehicle. I can get a Kia Sportage for the same cost as a Honda CRV. Why would I want to spend all this money on a Honda CRV used when I can get a brand new Kia?"
yeah, or if they really don't need a car, they can do my trick. I didn't need a car. I wanted one.
Mhm.
Instead, I went to the like Track AutoZone type place, and I bought a little bottle of the new car scent. Yeah,
Oh yeah,
they
Amazon
sell it.
got that.
They sell it, and it
Yeah,
smells like new car scent. And wash the car real good, put the new car scent in there, and I'm still driving the same car.
yeah. I don't know how they do that, man. What's
Well,
going on, Nicole?
what's going on, fam? What's going on? What's going on, you guys?
What's happening, bro?
What's happening? What's happening, Will? What's happening, baby? Yeah, I just think with the whole new car game and all that. I mean, used cars. If you're very good at with cars, you can really help to maintain them quite well. You know what's going on with them. A used car can be a possibility, but it all depends on the type of used car you're going to get. It's better to mess around with, let's say, with a used Taurus,
Hmm.
or something like that, than a Japanese one of these Japanese cars, whatever, where parts may be potentially more expensive. Certain kind of things are going to break down. You got to look at a car's drivetrain. Understand, if you're going to have drivetrain issues with these cars, you got to understand trannies and all that kind of stuff like that are going to be huge costs. Limited warranties that you can get. You have, well, I get these calls on my phone all the time. Your warranty and your car is XYZ number of years old and you can get this amount. They give you this amount of coverage or whatever, and it's really nothing. You're paying a lot of money for. So by the time you really do have kind of a problem with your car, your warranty's gone. 'Cause your warranty's not going to be lasting that long. So used cars, as he said, $20,000 for a Sportage, or something like that, and then she can buy a new. That was ridiculous. I don't know what that girl was thinking. I don't know who told her to do that. That's.
She went to the Honda dealership and she got swindled into buying a used CRV that had mileage on it, probably about 35, 40,000 miles on it, and you could have bought a brand new Kia Sportage for the same price, zero
Well,
miles and all the works.
I know why they did that to her, because when you look at a used car like that, and you finance it and it's been depreciated, the profit on that car is a lot more. So it's a lot more
Right.
money for the sales executive. Okay, when you look at its rate factor, to finance a used car than it is for a new, because the used car has already got its use. It's already been depreciated a certain amount. They can take all that, roll that into the price of basically damn to hit you for a new car price for a used car, and make that much more money on it. So it's a much more profitable deal for the for the dealership. But as far as the buyer, it's not a good deal. But she didn't know. She didn't have anybody who's with her who could sit down and explain this to her. But that's
Well,
you know,
yeah, yeah. She called me after, and it's like, nah, I'm not, I wouldn't have made that decision, but you got yourself a Dusty Beta mail at home. Let him figure it out. Anyways, let me get to this next article from Yahoo Finance. China gears up to weaponize rare earths in trade war. Beijing is gearing up to use its dominance of rare earths to hit back in its deepening trade war with Washington. A flurry of Chinese media reports on Wednesday, including an editorial in the flagship newspaper of the Communist Party, raised the prospect of Beijing cutting exports of the commodities that are critical in defense, energy, electronics, and automobile sectors. The world's biggest producer, China supplies about 80% of the U.S. imports of rare earths, which are used in a host of applications from smartphones to electric vehicles and wind turbines. The threat to weaponize strategic materials ratchets up the tensions between the world's two biggest economies before an expected meeting between President Xi Jinping and Donald Trump at the G20 meeting next month. It shows how China is weighing its options after the U.S. blacklisted Huawei Technologies Company Corporation, cutting off the supply of American components it needs to make its smartphones and networking gear. China, as the dominant producer of rare earths, has shown in the past that it can use rare earths as a bargaining chip when it comes to multilateral negotiations. There's George Bauk, Chief Executive Officer at Northern Minerals Limited, which is producing rare earth carbonate from a pilot scale project in Western Australia. The U.S. shouldn't underestimate China's ability to fight a trade war. The People's Daily said in an editorial Wednesday that used some historically significant language on the weight of China's intent. The newspaper's commentary included a rare Chinese phrase that means, "Don't say I didn't warn you." The specific wording was used by the paper in 1962 before China went to war with India. And those familiar with Chinese diplomatic language know the weight of this phrase. The Global Times, a newspaper affiliated with the Communist Party, said in an article last April, it was also used before conflict broke out between China and Vietnam in 1979. On rare earth specifically, the People's Daily said it isn't hard to answer the question whether China will use the elements as retaliation in the trade war. China is seriously considering restricting rare earth exports to the U.S. and may also implement other countermeasures, the editor in chief of the Global Times said in a tweet. An official at the National Development and Reform Commission told CCTV that people in the country won't be happy to see products made with exported rare earths being used to suppress China's development. Editorials in the Global Times and Shanghai Securities News took similar tacks in their Wednesday editions. So, what I'm seeing here is that this is going to get into a shooting war. You know, once you start withholding resources from a country, they have no other recourse other than to fight back. We remember back in 1941 when the United States government cut off the oil supply to Japan. Japan retaliated physically. They you had Pearl Harbor. Pearl Harbor was a consequence of the United States interfering with the trade routes and the energy imports for Japan. Doing the same thing to China, creating a blockade on the necessary components for Huawei's devices, which is a number 2 technology smartphone maker in the world, is only going to lead to further consequences. Now, if you cut the United States off from these rare earth minerals, the United States isn't going to come to the negotiating table. They're going to fire some hellfire missiles at you. This can get really nasty.
Well, you bring up the Second World War. One of the reasons why we started to embargo China and started to not embargo China, Japan, and started to hold back on them a bit was because of Japan's rather aggressive posture they took in China. And they were taking down Chiang Kai-shek's regime, who was very, very friendly to us. And they were moving very aggressively there, basically winning. And, of course, helping to spur even more of more disruption on the Chinese mainland. And, we were really worried about, Japanese military power there, there in Asia, and certainly moving up into China as they were doing. And we embargoed them. We embargoed them, and then they just turned around and decided then to pull the move that they made with us down the line because we were holding back oil from them and the whole deal and all that. But what I'm basically trying to say is there was already a shooting war going on. There was already a shooting war going on that was going on in Asia, and we were trying to stop them. And that was one of the ways that we were protesting or trying to hold them back from their aggressions on the Chinese mainland. So there was a shooting war. Here, we don't necessarily have a shooting war like that. So I think this is just another way of just making us or trying to make us cow to their to some of their demands. This is more of a political issue. And we all know war is political, but I don't know if we're going to go so aggressively towards that type of deal, because I don't see how that's going to really benefit any side in the long run. That's just my take on it. I think this is just another ploy to make us further come to the bargaining table, if you will.
Yeah, I
Well, if
agree.
they,
I agree with Nagon. I mean, we're talking about something that's, I mean, of course, political, but even more to the point, economic. And war would be more economically costly than negotiating. With peace is cheaper in this regard. I mean, we have more to lose than to gain. That with war. I mean, we're talking about a supply issue, inventory management issue. We're not going to war over that.
And see, and they're taking advantage of this exceedingly stupid president that we have, who's stupid, and Pompeo and these guys, they're blooming idiots, and the Chinese are making certain moves and are taking advantage of the idiocy and the lack of brinksmanship that we have here in the American administration and its foreign policy at this stage. They're functioning a little bit brighter than we are, and they're backing us up. And we should have made some moves far earlier than that, but he didn't want to go for the trade deal. He had a good move to potentially work this. But these guys are not the guys that are in office right now. They're not that bright. These guys are not too smart. So the Chinese understand that. So they're playing that with to something rather devastating effect. I will say. And I'll leave it at that. There are those who may disagree with me, so I'd like to hear some opposing facts on this as opposed to just opinions.
Lagoon, I want to disagree with you here. And
Go
it's
ahead.
not because why I'm disagreeing with you is because Trump was given a bad hand to play. I mean, if you're going to play poker and you had his hand, you'll probably just throw your hand in and wait for the next game. But this is not poker. This is power. And Trump can't wait. Because it's like if they wait 5 years.
Explain to me his bad hand that he had, because I have
Well,
accounted for that. Explain to me his bad hand. Go ahead.
the corporations of America, what they did was they moved everything into China. The only thing you got John Deere, Caterpillar tractor, Boeing, but everything else is in China. So China is exporting, or really China is not exporting it. American corporations exporting from China to the U.S. China is making all the money, and the corporations in America, between the corporations in America and China, are like eating what the U.S. should be. It's like they're eating our lunch, to make it, because what's happening is that China population is being employed, whereas our population here is underemployed. Our people are losing money. The Chinese people are being employed by U.S. corporations, European corporations that located in China. The other thing is China is reaping the technical benefit because they are able to, using the technology that they have, they got from the U.S. They're improving not only their economy but their defense system.
I would, I'm not making much sense out of all that. China basically
Hold on.
Go. Continue. Go ahead.
Hold on. What's happening is China is catching up to the U.S. and surpassing the U.S. in some areas. And in order for the U.S. to do something about that, Trump has to use the cards that he's got. And the cards that he's got is tariffs. He can't go to a shooting war because you're gonna send your sons to fight against China. Not many people in America are gonna do that. So
and they won't be able to.
Go ahead, Mike.
No, I was just going to say that they won't be able to sustain the fight like that because even NATO just a few weeks ago said that China, their sights are on China right now, not even Russia. So this is going to escalate if they think that the very components that they need for their military hardware, 80% of their military hardware is at stake. They're willing to fight for something. They fought for less, so why wouldn't they fight for this?
You're saying that China's going to go to war for this? Is that what you're saying?
No, China is not.
No.
That we, the United States, are going to go to war for this.
No, we are already at war. This is a
No.
This is a war.
We're talking about shooting war.
Shooting war. No.
A shooting war. That's a whole different game. All right. The bottom line, very simply, is this: as far as China and us in the trade game was, the name of the game was for our economy to be up. We said with the Chinese was, listen, we're going to buy your goods, you sell your goods over here, and you're going to take care of a lot of our debt. All right, that was the deal we had with China. Okay, that was already done. All right, we understood that Chinese are holding a tremendous amount of our foreign debt right now. They hold a great deal of it. All right. We've helped to buoy their economy. They helped to buoy ours. But now we're looking at the world stage as far as how, everyone is starting to grow. We are no longer in, we're not talking about the Monroe Doctrine here in the West. China's basically, their big moves that they're making are in the East and in Africa and so forth. This is what's really going on with them. This is where they're really starting to build their power base. Outside of, we fucked up. We didn't anticipate some of this. We weren't thinking about it. What Trump needed to do was sit down and work a trade deal with them, okay, at the time, so we could sit there and help to kind of avoid some of this. And we definitely had some real bad issues going on in certain areas of the country that, we've done this trade war, this tariff game that's hurting employment in certain areas of the country. The Chinese know exactly where this is. It's even in some of the red states. So the Chinese know exactly how this is playing politically on the political map here in the United States. These guys are fucking, pardon my expression, these guys are freaking stupid. They're stupid. They don't think three-dimensionally. They're not looking long-term down the line. The Chinese are. We're not.
I would like.
Okay, we're stupid. All right, that's the problem. Trump and these guys are morons. All right, they should have worked this deal when they had the chance to do it. He's trying to play political brinkmanship. Doesn't understand what he's doing. He's an idiot, and that's the problem that we have with this president. He's stupid.
Okay.
He's stupid.
Can I offer a counter?
All right. Go ahead. You think these guys are brilliant? I'm telling you, these guys are morons.
I'd like to offer a counter.
All right, go ahead.
Just to bring it back into the economic, this issue, we're at the top of a cycle. We have a glut. We have a glut in oil. We have a glut in many materials, including steel and aluminum. A glut. I mean, it's like everybody can Google that and you'll see stuff come up about it. I'm gonna drop something here in the chat and our internal and while we're talking, everybody can just scan it. We got a glut going on, and it's a inventory management issue. You already got a trade imbalance with China, okay, and we have a glut. So from my perspective, the trade war is designed to stop China from dumping their materials onto us, where we going to end up at the top of a growth cycle with inventory that we purchased or products that we purchased and markets that we can't sell into. We're stuck with the glut and nothing to do with it. Stuck paying storage fees for materials that we can't process into finished goods.
Mm-hmm. That's another good point.
So these tariffs are designed to slow the inbound flow of materials from China in the form of raw or finished product, because we want to exhaust our own. So we've gone through that transition of getting loans from banks, getting raw materials, pumping out as much oil as possible, keeping the factory running full tilt so we can keep making all types of widgets, sell everything. Well, when you get to the point where we are now, a global slowdown. The globe is slowing.
Meanwhile, we're trying to subsidize our farmers who are getting hit hard. I
Right.
mean, I mean, this is just
It's
these
delicate.
guys. These guys are idiots. But hey, Mike, do you follow where I'm coming from, or do you think I'm out, or you think I'm way off the mark here?
No, I think I agree with you about the farmers. Definitely, like Dollar was saying that the Chinese will dump their goods onto U.S. soil, and I think a lot of the Treasury is looking at this and saying you're about to have an influx of steel and aluminum and other staples, building staples that is going to flood your market, that is going to destroy your market for the most part. That you may not be able to recover from for a few years, because once the market becomes flooded.
Yeah, but Mike, let me just say this one little thing, and I'm gonna hand it back. When you buy materials at a certain price, remember you got to pay workers, and your retail price, or at least your wholesale price to the retailers, is factored in, so you can make a profit based on what you paid for those raw materials. So we have raw materials that we paid for at premium prices, and we're choking on it. And so the country that can get down or reduce their inventory fastest will be able to buy at lower prices. It's like, think about it. It's like if something's going to cost more next month than it costs this month, then you buy more this month so that you don't have to pay a higher price next month. Now, when the cycle reverses and the materials you have this month will be cheaper next month, then you're trying to get rid of that crap that you have in the storehouse, and you only want to buy it as you need it. So whenever you hear that story about what's happening, you see that destruction that's going on in global oil markets. That's what's going on, and it's just about everything downstream that's used that's an oil derivative, which is choking on stuff. So I don't see any other way. I can't believe that I'm supporting Trump on this move. I don't see anything else that he could do other than tariffs to try to protect America's corporations from ending up with a glut of high-priced materials that they also have to pay the store. So then they have to sell everything at a loss. And so all of our corporations would be upside down in their profit for years.
That's
based on the fact that based on the fact that Dollar Will just agreed with the Tangerine Tyrant. What's next? You're gonna have a MAGA hat? Make the manosphere great again?
Oh no, Mike!
Right. Is right. Trump is not a particularly intelligent guy. But
no. Trump's a moron. We should have worked a trade deal with these guys. I mean, at the end of the day, we should have taken this trade deal. This just backs us up into the corner. I'm looking at this is politics. It's economics, but it's politics. And these guys ain't too bright, man. These guys ain't too bright. I'm out. I'm done. You go ahead, fellas.
One side of the story.
Nah. I'll always look at both sides.
Let him get.
All right, man. Anyway, but go ahead, man. Go.
Get closer to the mic, De. Closer to the mic.
But look, Trump, the U.S. has got a hand to play. It's not a very good hand. Trump is the president. He's got to use that hand to do the best that he can, so that the U.S. is going to come out fair shape. He's not doing a fantastic job, but he's still doing what he can. In reality, look, China's got so much U.S. debt that if China just jumped in the market and sold the debt, what would happen to the U.S.? You remember England when England the pound sterling was the trading currency for the planet. That's how England got knocked out of knocked down when the U.S. currency became the trading currency.
Well, we can get into the whole Bretton Woods thing and all that, because I'd love to get into that conversation.
Well, that's Bretton Woods was long before that.
Because this is deep. No, it's all about the fiat currency. But listen, the bottom line, I don't want to get any deeper into this. We should have worked to deal with China on this. You know, one thing you said, hey man, they hold a lot of our debt. That's something I do know. That's something I mentioned before. The benefit is that tonight to let these guys back us into a corner. They hold a lot of our debt. They make moves around the rest of the world. There's certain things we could have done, but like I said, Trump, he didn't see it. He wasn't bright enough to see this. Okay, okay. Obama and them saw this and tried to work this. These guys didn't see it, or they can't see it, or now he's trying to actually almost knock everything down this guy's done to ruin the economy, to do whatever. I can't follow this guy. All right, even though things are going well in spite of this guy, I in this country, I can't follow what he's doing, and this China thing is just one big one that I obviously see. But you guys have your views, and that's it. Go ahead, Mike. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say that we have a member on the panel who's been affected by the tariffs and import of Asian goods. Complex Design. What's going on?
Hey, what's going on? What's going on, y'all? Mike, the quips, man. I got to give them to you, bro. The MAGA quip, man. You just keep hitting us with them, bro.
Man, funny.
But well, look, I think, what to kind of follow what DE was saying, because we spoke to this on the geopolitics hangout on Wednesday, I think it was. There's a lot of I don't think the United States has the type of bargaining power it thinks that it has with China. Because like I said, there's a lot of things that the United States or people of the United States largely don't consider with regards to what type of risks and what type of liabilities the Chinese put themselves or they took upon themselves in becoming the world's manufacturer. Okay, pollution and all that type of stuff. That's a major issue. I'm not gonna renegotiate with you. Right. If I paid the price, we know like the air quality in Chinese cities and all this type of stuff and what it is that my people had to be subjected to in order for us to gain this position. What? Only for me to acquiesce, to give you some of this shit back after we taken the pollution part of the equation. We took that all on ourselves. You took the profits, we took the pollution. We took all the liabilities in the manufacturing. We took subjecting our people to work conditions because of your business requirements that had our people jumping off of roofs, the factories. See, there's a lot of things that the Chinese decided. They said, okay, well, look, in order for us to really bolster our position for the future, we have to have a strong case. So there's only going to be but a certain amount of negotiation, right, with regards to the United States. And so it's almost as if it's like I have to take a line from my bro C Boogie, like the nerve of you. Like the nerve of you, like, are you serious? Like, really? But then when you want to negotiate, what's your tactics? You want to kick ZT out. You want to kick Huawei out. Right? Not only that, you're talking about the Chinese apps. U.S. banks are afraid of Chinese apps. You ain't afraid of Chinese money, though. You see, like we gotta look at the larger scope here, and we gotta look at what it is that the United States has basically sent as far as signals to the Chinese in terms of their desires to renegotiate, if you will, in a more equitable and fair sort of scope of things. Like, no, what the United States has done is gone about doing its reckless policy. Okay, but they're trying to do it with the Chinese. And see, the Chinese then thunk about 2, 3, 4 steps ahead. So what I'm saying is that if we're going to talk renegotiations and all that type of stuff, we may need to do that with just a little bit more humility.
Humility comes at the expense of 12 packs of honey buns and Thor's hammer. Anyways, go to cryptobriefing.com. Good news for good news. Good news for Ripple.
Oh my
SEC
Lord.
to consider more no action letters for crypto. U.S. regulators may be taking a more flexible approach to enforcing security regulations in the cryptocurrency and blockchain space. That could include granting no action letters to ICO and other cryptocurrency projects that can now demonstrate a viable use case. Director William Hinman, head of the division for corporate finance, says the SEC may issue no action letters for projects whose tokens are now in compliance, even if the original sales pushed the boundaries of securities regulations. That's the flexibility of the regulatory framework that we're working with, he said. A no action letter reassures individuals and companies that the regulator will not pursue legal action against them, provided they remain in compliance. It is determined on a case by case basis and can be rescinded at any time. So far, the SEC has only recommended one no action letter to cryptocurrency project. Turnkey Jet received assurance in early April that the regulator would not take action against its crowd sale, so long as the tokens were used for the sole purpose of helping customers book private jets. Seems very odd. Hinman was speaking at a FinHub forum, the SEC's inaugural blockchain conference, held at headquarters in Washington, D.C. The event is intended to gather industry players and officials to discuss future regulation and establish dialogues between the two sides. The forum comes as cryptocurrency projects push for greater say in how regulation affects their business. After being forced to lay off 30 members of staff because of regulatory uncertainty, Circle accused the SEC of conflicting and possibly contradictory guidance. Kick has also started a crowdfunding campaign to defend crypto from overzealous regulatory oversight. The company was issued with a Wells notice in November, which may be the first step towards further enforcement. In November, SEC officials ordered two ICO projects, Paragon and AirFox, to refund investors after they concluded that both had been unregistered securities sales. In their view, investors had bought tokens on the premise of making a monetary return. Although the SEC would be open to issuing more no-action letters, Hinman emphasized that the option would only be open to projects which held ICOs before the regulator publicly warned that such offerings might classify as unregistered security sales in its July 2017 DAO report of investigation. This is BS, right? And here's my 2 cents on this. One, it only allows those who come in previous to the regulatory clause. And number two, the whole purpose of decentralization is to keep the government out of all of this. Having all of these regulatory standards and loopholes kind of defeats the purpose of decentralization of cryptocurrencies and blockchain in the first place.
Well, that was the crypto enthusiast vision, that they would be free in a decentralized world. That's just like that's naive. The freedom that's an illusion. You're not free. There's no independent. Nobody's an individual. Nobody's free.
Well, you know,
don't say that too loud because Lionel's in the chat.
I'm going to, kind of agree with Alvin on this. I mean, at the end of the day, the libertarian view of what this whole crypto game was about, it was never going to once it showed its head and showed what it was really about and how effective this thing could really be. You saw the original guys who really got involved in this whole crypto game. They put them in jail. They put them in prison. They locked these dudes down, saying, "Oh, you guys are selling drugs and everything else like that through this cryptocurrency system." They put those guys away. They locked them down and gave these dudes mad time. For what? At the end of the day, it's because they couldn't control it. They wanted to show you, well, we're going to control this, and we're going to show you what we're going to do to some of you guys, to make you believe that this is how this thing is coming down. And they took a couple of heads. All right, and now they're in here grabbing a hold of this and taking charge of this thing, man. This crypto is going to it's going to be just another trading systems type of deal, just like the exchanges, and it will be subject to the same crap that goes on there. Wall Street's got there. I've been saying this from day one. This is what they've been trying to stop. The government is not about let that happen, and this is where crypto is going. It's going down the same highway that the exchanges are on. You know, and the highway, I would say that special Hershey highway that they're on. That's basically where we're at with this. And this is further how would I say verification of exactly what's going on, of them hijacking. This is Wall Street and the government doing this.
When we get to the end of the year and things really flesh out, I'm gonna dig out one of our first shows in my comments. We were having this conversation about the future, and I was saying there'll be no revolution today. You know, all of the taxing authorities in the world, the regulatory authorities, they're gonna put this cake together to make sure they get their slice. You know, and at the end of the day, when all is said and done, you're going to be calling up a traditional broker, the same broker that you use to buy your stocks and your your forex, and they're going to sell you cryptocurrency. Period.
That's where this is at. There is no independent way to get around these guys. They already said the first set of dudes that came out with this whole cryptocurrency piece said they were drug dealers and they're in jail. These dudes are doing time. Didn't murder anybody, didn't do anything. These guys are doing time. Why are they in jail? Why are they locked down? All right. That was to put everyone on notice. We're taking this bitch up. This is our bitch, and we're taking it over. That's the deal.
I tell you, here's a bright side. I want to see how you feel about this, Nagone, or anybody else for that matter. I think of course the economy's slowing down. This could be a big nasty fall, and profits that people make in crypto, it can offer a lot of relief to a lot of people. So I believe we may get a few years where maybe you're not taxed as rigorously, you know, as what's to come. We may have a little honeymoon period where, you know, the laws may be written, you know, regulations may be written, but nobody, you know, may not really get punished for a while. They may just kind of ease it in.
Well, I kind of see a mix of, I see a mix of it, right? I see a mix of it because cryptos they exist in a decentralized environment, right? So what I see for states, countries, and stuff like that, I do see there being a regulatory body that does oversee cryptocurrency activity, right? As it relates to, say, like a state-sponsored cryptocurrency and anything that's being done to use those cryptocurrencies. Okay, but then I also see the decentralized application of it because pretty much anybody can create a crypto. You see, so in a small sort of setting or an environment, like if I have my own if I have my own crypto that, let's just say that it was backed by a commodity that I produce, right? And then I use it for personal usage, or I use it in a way where, you know, there's going to be a certain network of people who are going to utilize this crypto in lieu of using, say, like traditional currencies or what have you. Well, that's going to be on the decentralized, on the privatized end. So I kind of see it working in both venues.
Yeah, I guess, but really, my question is really very basic.
What you're not going to do, basically, what I'm saying is this: what you're not going to do is you're not going to game up like a national currency. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Dalgo.
Yeah, I'm just asking people to consider this. What government what powerful government in the world is going to allow large amounts of money to be to grow and be circulated in a decentralized environment and not get taxed? What government is going to do that?
or not get taxed. Forget about not even going to get taxed, but that's going to be regulated. And,
Well, same thing. I mean, you regulate it for the purpose. I mean, that's
which is not going to, regulate it. And I'm talking about all kind of regulations. And now you're also going to have in these regulatory bodies, you're going to have all the little, devils in that. And like I said, cryptos. I agree with what you said before. It's just going to be like another exchange. That's it. You're gonna have a broker calling you up to buy currencies. That's to buy cryptos. That's where we're at, man.
And even when we
That's
get
where this is
there,
going.
the issue then will be, as I'm saying now, learn how to read a chart.
Man,
It doesn't matter what the regulatory rules are if you can't read a chart.
Yeah, you can learn how to read charts, but I also saw it. See, I was on Wall Street a lot of years. I saw guys throwing darts at stocks and so forth, and they were predicting. They had relatively good predictability with respect to that, as they were doing with a lot of these with a lot of these cryptos, because of some of the fraudulent, some of the bullshit crap that goes on Wall Street that I am intimately aware of.
Well, it doesn't have to be
fraudulent. Well, I call it fraudulent for some different reasons, but I don't want to get.
No, I was going to say in terms of if it's a trend like what we.
I don't want to get deeply into that, but I'm just going to say the cryptos are going to be playing underneath those same qualities. I'm not all that crazy. I would love to see a decentralized crypto market. I ideally would love to see that, but man, I don't know. I'm just saying, guys, just keep your eyes open, and if you're going to get involved in this crypto game heavily, just be very careful.
Okay, Nicole, I'm in agreement with you on this one. But I want to ask a question. Now, if the economy right now, the economy is peaking and it's beginning to stagnate.
It's not going to stagnate until interest rates really start to go up higher. But anyway, go ahead.
When it starts to fall, is the government going to take that opportunity to go after crypto?
I don't know. Maybe so.
All right, let me get to this next article.
Go ahead.
That's what I'm thinking. But you guys are more professional when it comes to this kind of dealing. So your opinion to me is like added to what I'm thinking.
Yeah, I'm a skeptical guy. But anyway, go ahead, Mike. Go to the next article. Sorry.
All right, this next one's from Crypto Briefing again. Whales could pull Bitcoin back to $20,000, says asset manager. A small group of deep-pocketed traders have been able to exploit market sentiment and set the trajectory for crypto prices, according to one asset manager. Travis Kling, founder and chief investment officer at Ikigai Asset Management, believes that there could be sufficient momentum to make Bitcoin pass its all-time high. Based on information collected from his own analysis, as well as from conversation with other institutional investors, Kling hypothesizes that a small group of risky whales manufactured the recent market upswing. We believe a relatively small number of highly sophisticated, well-capitalized, highly risk-tolerant market participants have been walking this crypto market higher over the last 7 weeks. Kling first wrote in a note published April 1st with a full. Through a series of coordinated buys executed at key moments, these risky whales may have reversed the market's trajectory over the past 4 months, laying the foundations for the latest bullish trend. Although sentiment is important in all markets, cryptocurrencies are especially susceptible. FUD and FOMO affect market price in a two-way feedback loop, Kling says, a concept George Soros originally referred to as reflexivity. According to Kling, the initial recovery was first triggered by Jay Powell, chair of the Federal Reserve, in late January. In response to considerable presidential pressure, Powell reversed the Federal Reserve's commitment to end its decade-long policy of quantitative easing, or QE. there's a good chance that Jay Powell put the bottom in crypto. Kling told an audience at Ethereal Summit earlier this month. A dovish Fed allowed additional money to flow into the global economy, increasing investor appetite. The appetite included digital assets. Anecdotally, Kling has heard of a significant step change with crypto specific as well as a global macro funds buying Bitcoin for a long-term hold. This is interesting. And they're right about the feedback loop, where someone says something and now all of a sudden, the market starts to have more volatility than what it should for cryptos. And I know Dollar Will would disagree with me on this because he looks at the technicals, but word of mouth does affect the market. Trump says he's going to do something, and next thing you know, the market starts to bounce around a little bit.
Sure does.
And that's just from a tweet. So you imagine when people in the crypto spaces start talking, that affects a whole lot of the volatility.
That's
Elon
not
Musk.
I want to have. You're gonna have to prove that.
Can I finish my statement, please, sir?
Yeah,
Elon Musk had said something. Elon Musk had said something a few months ago, and he got in trouble for it with the FTC, if I remember correctly. Kind of speaking out of turn. Maybe Complex Design could probably remind me of what he had said or how it affected him, but. Basically, it forced him out of the
He
leadership
speculated.
role.
He what he did was he suggested that if Tesla stock made it to, oh gosh, I think it was like $420 a share, that Tesla would be open to selling. And because he did that, there was a spike in the Tesla price. Right.
Yep.
on the premise that if the stock price hit a certain point, Tesla was up and there was a buyer, and the rumor was that the buyer was Volvo or Geely. I'm sorry. Well, Volvo, which is owned by a Chinese firm, Geely, which is probably why the SEC was like, nope.
But technical traders make projections all the time, very successfully. Why don't people say, well, they caused it, or what makes him just because he's the CEO of the company? See, people don't count. That's why I say you have to prove this, because I know that you're wrong. I know all of you are wrong. Hold on.
I've seen a lot. I traded on Wall Street. I saw.
And you're still wrong.
It ain't nobody wrong here. Just look at history, fam. What are you talking about? You're doing a lot of screaming. Look at history.
Down, man.
No, you calm down, fam. Cut all that out. All that screaming, dude. Come on, finish, man.
Okay. Let me stand down and let me finish.
Yeah, stand down. Okay. Go ahead.
Bottom line
stand up. Go ahead.
The bottom line is, all I'm asking for you guys to do something scientific, like prove it. And here's how. Hold on. This is going to be, a hope thing for you, and you're going to learn that it's wrong. I can show you it. I've mentioned, put forth videos of world war and war.
Don't care. I'm just going on. Rumor does move the market. It always has.
And you just button it. Let me finish.
Nah, man. Come on, dude. Just talk truth.
Come on, man. I put forth those videos, and I'm asking you guys to challenge your own point of view. Make a record of what Trump says, Elon Musk, and write down when they say something and the market does not do what they say. You can Google this information and find people have this view that's been going for decades. That's been proven wrong over and over again. I've issued emails to prove it. But people just want to think that. So I'm just asking you guys to challenge yourself, challenge your own point of view, or I'll continue to send the emails even more vigorously now to prove that our minds don't remember when the president's tweet has no impact. The market is falling right now. So what is so if it goes up, they'll attribute that to Trump. If it goes down, they'll attribute it to Trump. It just can't be proven or made any, it won't stand up to any kind of scrutiny if you look at it on a case by case basis instead of reverse engineering. Like when the market rises, oh, it must have been because of this. But when it falls, people don't say, well, wait a minute, that's not what he said.
Well, you have to understand the market is subject to these types of forces at times. We're not saying that this happens on every occasion. Everything the president says, that doesn't mean it's going to move the market. But there are times when this definitely will and can happen. All right, and we've seen this historically. We even saw it when President Roosevelt, when we had the stock market crash. All right, president closed the whole exchange down for 3 days. All right, came back, got on his fireside chat, sat down, talked to everybody, said everything is going to be fine, everything is going to be safe. Go put your money back in the banks. Okay, go. The markets are going to be strong when we open up Monday morning. Come on in. This is what I'm telling you we're going to do. Let's do it. All right, we're going to be fine. The president sat down, calmed everyone down, based on his word. Came back in Monday morning. The markets opened up, and everything was smooth. It's history. We know this. Okay, and we've seen this done before. So we do a lot of screaming. I'm not down with that. Okay. I ain't feeling you on that, fam. Cut that out.
I know you're not. I know, but I'm right though. I'm right.
At the end of the day, no, you're not right all the time.
No.
So at the end of the day, I'm just saying you have to look at what's really going on. All right, I've traded on the street. You ain't. All right,
and you were wrong then, and you're wrong now. You were
well, I don't know if I was wrong then.
Because you ain't never
certainly profited from it. So anyway, I'm not sitting here and getting a pissing contest with you. Hold on a second, man. We let you talk, so you just chill for a second, button it for a second. What I'm saying to you is there are times where the market can be moved by what the president or what others in a company, president of a company might say, or something else like that, that will play a role in it. Okay, you can actually get a run on a bank on what somebody could just say and drop the market for quite a bit just because of fear of what somebody may be fearful of, and it may not be actually correct. And we've seen this, so it's gone on in history before. I just want you to be clear about that. All right, don't say right or wrong. Just look at what goes on. It's not a black and white thing. There's a lot of gray in here. I want you to be a little more sophisticated in how you might look at this than as opposed to how you're coming off right now.
And
all right?
Wouldn't this all be the basis of a...
Hold on. When you drop a loaded word like sophisticated, now I'm absolutely going to jump in. Prices can only do one of three things: up, down, or sideways. I want you to be a little more sophisticated and to realize that
right.
Being the exact same is very low. So we really talking prices mostly go up or down. So that's a damn coin flip. I want you to be more sophisticated and before you conclude that somebody making a tweet or somebody important saying something is the cause of it.
I just gave you some very great examples.
No, you did.
Next.
And I sent almost 100 years worth of examples that trumps everything you just said.
No, it hasn't, because I gave you the
I
gave you the biggest example. I gave you the business example in the 30s. One of the biggest crash we ever had. All right, so let's keep it real, fam. Anyway, I'm done with this.
I show the 9/11 attack. I talk about all of that, but people just determined to think a certain way, and it can't be.
All right, I need to get to this. I need to get to this next article. This one is from Sharon.com. Tariffs on Mexico could deal blow to Houston economy. The president on Thursday night tweeted that the U.S. will impose a 5% tariff on all Mexican goods on June 10th, which would gradually increase until the influx of immigrants and asylum seekers at the Mexican border ceases. If the tariffs are implemented, the impact to Houston's economy would be profound, pushing up costs for everything from automotive parts to Mexican crude oil and food, beverages, and produce. Trade between Houston and Mexico averages $23.4 billion per year, according to estimates from the Greater Houston Partnership, and about 75% of the U.S.-Mexico land trade. Worth approximately $343 billion in 2015, crosses through a Texas port of entry, according to research by the Federal Reserve Bank of Dallas. The value of trade between Houston and Mexico has gradually expanded since 2016, primarily due to the growth in the price of fuels, oil, and refined products. In the last year, trade between the local economy and Mexico increased 22.7%, up to $24.6 billion. Whether the tariffs will be imposed remains uncertain. Immediately following the president's tweet, Mexico President Andres Manuel Lopez responded with a letter requesting the matter be resolved with dialogue. Officially, Mexican officials traveled Friday to Washington to meet with U.S. representatives in person regarding the dispute. Fuels, oil, and refined products, iron or steel, and motor vehicles and parts make up the bulk of imports from Mexico to Houston, and would prove the most costly of the for the local economy. The most impacted sector for Mexico would be manufacturing, according to analysts from J.P. Morgan Chase, which could threaten businesses that trade with Houston companies. Several manufacturers, particularly in the automotive industry, ship parts back and forth from Texas to Mexico on a daily basis, completing one part of the vehicle in one country and finish it in another. The symbiotic relationship poses a problem for businesses in Texas economy when trade agreements are threatened, said Jesus Canas, a senior business economist from the Federal Reserve Bank of Dallas. The manufacturing process essentially means that companies may pay tariffs multiple times in order to assemble one product. And cross-border manufacturing operations are an important part of corporate strategy to achieve competitively priced goods in the U.S., according to recent analysis by Canas. They need these inputs every day. So if we have disruptions, that worries me a lot, said Canas in a previous interview with Houston Chronicle. Disruptions eventually could damage the competitiveness of Texas businesses. If the tariffs are imposed, they could represent a potentially serious blow for Texas oil and gas sector in particular, raising costs for Gulf Coast refineries configured to process heavier grades that rely on Mexican crude. With sanctions on Venezuela limiting the amount of heavy crude inputs to Houston refineries, companies may have to absorb any cost increase due to tariffs, as it is difficult for refineries to reconfigure their facilities to use much more of the lighter domestic crude oil being produced in West Texas. U.S. refineries imported more than 606,000 barrels of oil from Mexico in February, more than any nation besides Canada, according to the U.S. Department of Energy. So this is going to affect the cost of a vehicle now, because if the parts are expensive to import and your car needs those parts, whether it's airbags or something like that, brakes and stuff like that, you can expect to see the price of cars increase. Cars aren't moving as they are right now. So it seems like a bit of a, the glass is half full, because on one hand, you think you're implementing a financial strategy by adding these tariffs on, but what happens to the cost of the product? The product just goes up higher and higher, and it gets passed on from the manufacturer and the dealerships to the consumer, and the consumer absorbs the cost. We talked about this last week with China. 55-inch screen TVs were down to a bare minimum of like $300 about a year or so ago. Now that these tariffs are in place, you see the price of 55-inch TVs going straight to the roof, up to $800 for a 55-inch TV. That was not like that a year or so ago. If you look at the numbers of Black Friday sales and so on and so forth, even laptops are becoming way more expensive than what they should be. I don't know. Americans are not cash strapped like that. They are holding on to their purses and their wallets, and they're saying, "I don't know about this."
Well, you
They
know,
want
Mike, that I was going to say, Mike, that kind of speaks to some misconceptions about how strong the economy and the markets are and stuff like that. When there's detractors of ours who state, oh, well, the economy's doing great, unemployment numbers are low, and this and this and that, and it's like, okay, well, let's look at market activity, and that'll give us more of an indicator as to like just what's actually going on and why it is the psychology behind why it is that people are holding on to their money. And it's because of things like that, right? Whereas when I could have bought a TV for $300, now it's 5, 6, or $700. I think the TV that I got now might actually do me okay for a little bit longer.
hmm Yeah, you could look at the price of smartphones. Samsung Galaxy's going through the roof. iPhone through the roof. I mean, I think an iPhone now is like the top of the line one is like $1,200, something like that.
Exactly, exactly. It's kind of like, all right, well, when you look at the cost of like our daily usage items, right? What we do as far as like maintaining a certain type of lifestyle in this country, car purchases, right? It's that's it's not in vogue in the United States to be driving around in a bucket. It's more apropos to be driving around in something modern and current. However, right about now this is the reason why the automotive sector just has a glut of cars. Nobody's signing up for a 5-year term on a vehicle. I mean, even with the steep $20,000 cuts on what was that? Was that an RSX or whatever that was? I'm sorry, what you sent me, Mike, in the email? They're
NSX.
cutting slashing 20,000 NSX slashing 20 grand off of it. You got to slash 20 grand off of an NSX to get people to buy. What does that tell you?
They slashed the price on them, but they moved 700 a year before and only moved 100 just this year alone.
Exactly, exactly.
Dollar, will you have anything you want to add to this?
No, other than to say that when the fundamentals line up with the technicals, look out. There's nobody on the other side of that trade, and you see more of that happening right now. Of course, the technicals being superior, they lead the way, and over time, the fundamental data catches up. But by the time people see what's going on, they've lost a lot as the Dow continues to fall, which we'll be talking about later. So that's all I want to say. But yeah, the technicals when the technical traders and the fundamental style investors are saying the same thing, it's no more debate. It's time to act.
All right, let me get to this next article. This one is from barchart.com. U.S. consumer spending slows to 0.3% gain in April. The Commerce Department said Friday that spending increased 0.3% in April following a 1.1% surge in March that had been the largest increase in nearly a decade. Personal income growth, which had been lagging in recent months, jumped 0.5% in April. The Fed tries to manage interest rate policy to achieve annual rate gains of 2%. However, through the first 3 months of this year, inflation fell further from this goal. President Donald Trump has argued that the slowdown in inflation shows that the Fed is keeping monetary policies too tight and should start cutting its interest rates. The Fed raised rates 4 times last year, but then reversed course in January and has signaled that it plans to keep rates unchanged this year. However, Trump has argued that the Fed's policies are hurting the economy and the central bank should be slashing rates instead of keeping them steady. Fed Chairman Jerome Powell and other Fed officials have attributed the slowdown in inflation to temporary factors, which should reverse in coming months, and have argued that the Fed's wait and see approach on further changes in interest rates is appropriate given how low unemployment is currently. The 0.5% gain in incomes followed 3 months of tiny changes and was the best showing since 0.9% jump in December. With incomes rising faster than spending, the saving rate increased to 6.2% after tax income in April, up from 6.1% in April. The government reported Thursday that the overall economy, as measured by the gross domestic product (GDP), grew at a solid 3.1% rate in January-March quarter. But half of the gain was based on temporary factors that are expected to fade in the current April-June quarter. Economists believe that the consumer spending, which accounts for 70% of economic activity, will rebound this quarter after slowing in the first 3 months of the year, but they still think overall GDP will slow to a growth rate of around 1.5%. For April, spending on durable goods such as autos fell 0.8% after a 3.6% jump in March, while spending in non-durable goods such as food and clothing rose 0.7%. Spending on services such as utilities and doctors' visits rose 0.3%. So you have all these tariffs, trade tariffs being put on Mexico and China and even the European Union for durables and durables being imported. There's a lot of feedback coming in. I'm not sure where it's coming from. For durables being imported. So what you're starting to see now is that consumer spending is also slow. People aren't going out and buying those new cars anymore. Those cars are sitting on lots. Those sort of goods are not going to be profitable going forward with these trade tariffs with Mexico, and those parts that need to be manufactured are going to affect the cost of the vehicle. The consumer's already holding on to their wallets and their purses. This is a disaster waiting to happen. Dollar Will, what do you think about this?
Well, I want to bring up something that Gon said earlier. He's right. If that daggone interest rate starts going higher, and I think it is, it's game over. I mean, we're going to get this market is going to fall to where it's got to go really fast if the interest rate starts rising. People already don't have. Go ahead.
We have to look at the leading economic indicators. All right, leading and lagging economic indicators. We definitely have to look at that. And consumer spending, it's a leading indicator. Spending is down. In the belts, suspecting that there's going to be, slowing down. To have the bank to kind of going, so they're not buying assembly, they're not buying big ticket items, they're not buying machines, they're not buying big screen TVs, they're not buying cars as aggressively and so forth. So these kind of things are being looked at very very closely. So and all that is tied to interest rates as well. So we're looking at a temporary because you have people that are doing okay with jobs, so forth. But once again, as I was saying, as far as the interest rates beginning to creep up, it's going to start to slow the economy down. And the Fed is taking away and see, but the Fed is going to have to raise interest rates as time goes on. So people kind of understand that, and that's essentially kind of what you're saying. So we are going to see some slowing to the economy, and some people are thinking that Trump is trying to hurt the economy with what he's trying to do. So my brother and a few others were saying that. We were saying that earlier, yesterday or earlier today. We talked about that very, very quickly, but we definitely have to watch this. Interest rates are going to be key in this, so you got to keep your eyes on that.
So the moral to this story here is employment numbers and wages don't necessarily reflect a strong economy.
I would say
It does reflect a strong economy.
the first thing that people need to keep in mind is that the numbers we're looking at are like backwards, backwards looking,
Mm-hmm.
and like the last
Mm-hmm.
quarter, and then they'll get revised. you know, so that's the most current information that you're ever going to get is in the stock market. Price is truth. Price is truth. We will never know the exact total reason why anything happened. We'll just know that it happened. We'll never really know.
Well, what runs the price in the stock market to a large extent of corporations buying back a lot of stock. So they'll buy that, they'll put a lot of stock out there and they'll buy a lot of stock back, and they'll do a lot of stock buybacks, and that'll help to drive up the market. So the stock market, to a large extent, there is a disconnect between Wall Street and Main Street because of that, because that's what corporations tend to do, and it's the very wealthy buying back and putting a lot of stock back into their portfolios and running so that will run the stock market up. So you got to be careful about that. You have to look at that in a more sophisticated manner. That's what they're doing. So we have to really look from the standpoint of where the market, where the economy really is you got to take a look at where the job starts. Where the job market is really looking like. Where are people working, and how many people are legitimately working? And that's really what you have to look at. So looking at the fundamentals of the economy at this stage right now look fairly decent, but there is still very large amount of debt that's out there with our overall government economy, if you will. We got to start bringing some of that down. That means we've got to raise some interest rates to a certain degree, and that's going to slow the economy down as well as time goes on. So you have to look at how a lot of this works, and I know how to look at this, but others may not. And I'm just saying, just keep your eyes on it. Consumer spending starting to go down, starting to get a sense that things are going to get a little bit tighter. They're starting to tighten their belts and they're putting the money away. We're going to see somewhat of a slowdown in the economy, especially from a consumer standpoint. From a consumer spending perspective, which is a leading economic indicator, that's a key factor. So I'm just saying, we just got to keep our eyes looking at, we got to keep our eyes on what's going on. We got to see exactly what the Fed is going to do, and watch that close. Watch the bottom line on that close.
Right. Yeah.
I always say watch the Fed's fund rate closely, but others may have some different views. Anyway, go ahead.
I think that it's very important.
Go ahead.
I think that it's very important that people also, there's no way around collecting the data, writing down who said what, and experiencing it for yourself over time. Because what you're going to learn is that the common view that people have is wrong, and you will learn that from your own experience. Okay, because I've been trading for 30 years, and I used to be a fundamental trader, and then I discovered it was wrong. And and it's very hard to but aside from that, let me get off of that. Let me just say, when you're taking in this information, keep in mind that the earnings of the company is a different thing from the price of a stock. A company can be making money while the stock is going down. So the stocks don't go up automatically just because the company is making money. And I will prove that. Okay. So you're going to see that. So a part of it is risk management. And when a industry has shot up astronomically, big money starts looking for a better risk proposition. and they may look over at another industry like utilities, which is what I'm harping on right now, and say, well, okay, well, look at, the book value is very low, the PE ratio. I mean, if they're fundamentally inclined, they're going to think like that. PE ratio is low, and then some technical trader will go, well, it looks like it's, we're getting the range is low, and the indicators and oscillators are pointing that the momentum should be popping soon. And so they have to make a decision. Do I continue to invest in Netflix and AMD when they're already up over 1,000% or whatever they are, or do I buy this company that's been trading in this safe range for many, many years, where the odds of me losing money is very low? So once big money, once they've made a lot of money, they're trying to keep it. So they're going to look for something that has that's trading closer to the floor than the ceiling.
Well, you're playing a little more game, and I would agree with that. But if you want to take a look at a lot of hype, because you got a lot of companies that have very high PE ratios, debt to equity ratios are high, and so forth. The fundamentals in the company may not look that great, but it's got a hype. A lot of hype there. People are hyping it up. People in the market are hyping it up, and bam, that stock will run. People will go in and they'll start buying. Start seeing that bad boy going up. People will start putting in their buy orders. Then after a period of time, hype goes away, and that stock starts to go down. Then it starts to hit its levels where maybe should be with respect to its fundamentals, but it may run for a while. So people will trade on that, and I've seen that go on many times. That's what I mean by, people can go on a hype or a story or something can come out and say, well, this is going to happen. Boom. I remember we were trading Marvel at the time, and Spider-Man, the movie, was supposed to come out at a certain period of time, but it didn't. And we were trading in the stock, but yet Spider-Man, the movie, where I was pushing it, that stock started to fly. Over $30 per share. All right, it was somewhere about 16, but it went over $30 per share just on this news. What wasn't happening? Fundamentals of the stock looked okay, but that stock ran. I made a lot of money trading that stock. But as things started to come down and so on over time, then you started to see, hey, listen, this may not be coming out, and it went to I think it started to settle at its I think at about $24 per share, but people bought in at 16, so they made money. But at the end of the day, hype can run stocks as well. You have to understand kind of how the market works. That does play, and we've played on that quite a bit. So just want people to be a little bit aware of that as well.
All right, let me get to this next article. This one is from Bar Chart. U.S. pending home sales fell 1.5% in April. Fewer Americans signed contracts on homes in April compared with the prior month, potentially signaling that rising prices have outweighed recent declines in mortgage rates. The National Association of Realtors said Thursday that its pending home sales index fell 1.5% to a reading of 104.3. Pending sales declined 2% over the past year. Sales have been hampered even with the average 30-year mortgage rates slipping below 4% this week, according to mortgage buyer Freddie Mac. That average is down from nearly 5% in November, though cheaper home loans have done little to boost real estate purchases. Home prices have risen faster than incomes in 78% of U.S. areas since 2012. Pending sales is a measure of home purchases that are usually completed a month or two later. So maybe people are still renting and saying, I'm just gonna wait it out. Maybe waiting it out is the only thing they know how to do at this point. I mean, some people are moving back homes with their mothers and their aunts and their grandmothers, and you know, we know that your Pookies and your Ray Rays aren't on the market, to be first time home buyers. They're not sitting at these programs and getting these minimum mortgage rates and stuff like that. So they're cut out of the whole entire spectrum. But when you think about the greater picture, the broader picture of this, People are just not feeling the market right now. They're not willing to go out there and go buy a new car. They're not willing to go out there and put down on the mortgage, regardless of the fact that the percentages for 30-year rates have been lowest it's been in a while. They see no reason.
It
Dollar
just
Will?
seems
Yeah.
too risky of a proposition, man.
Yeah. Can I while we're on this home builder, can I just throw up a chart of it's a home builder ETF?
Your mic is breaking up a lot.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yep.
Yeah, we can hear you.
I said, can I throw up a home builder chart ETF, a ETF of home builders right now since we're talking about them?
Yep.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Crap, I just saw that daggone thing. Here it is. All right. Get rid of this. So we got, I think this is this low. I'm looking in the information box now. This is 2009, the low. This is the channel of the rise going up. You know, everybody knows I'm an Elliott wave theory trader. Okay, wave 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so basically the odd numbers go up. 1, 3, and 5. All right. So this peak was here in January of 2018, and this was one of the things I was looking at no, I'm not always right. When I was wrong, I'm right most of the time though, and I ain't wrong by much. When I was wrong and said that this was the top in the market, it wasn't just this one industry. It was several other things I looked at, and then the market continued. It fell, and then it continued on to make the high. Depending on because we'll get into the S&P and Dow later, because they both did different things, which is really strange. Now, the people who are technical traders, they saw this and they said, "Whoa, this ain't right." We got the stochastic here. We're looking at a weekly chart. Got overbought, which is right at that peak. Now, that doesn't mean that it's going to, you don't know how long it's going to fall. These oscillators help you kind of manage the risk. It tells you that the odds of it going up much higher, is more likely to go down than up when you're at an overbought stage. So that's like a signal that you might want to take profit. Again, in technical trading, we're not trying to be greedy and get the exact high. That's one of the things you train yourself to leave some money on the table. Go sit your butt down. You've made all this money right here. Go sit down. Okay, so that's what technical traders did, and a very serious thing happened. The price fell and violated a support. Okay, and it fell to, I'm looking in the information box, like many things, you'll notice many things I put up, everything seems to have had some kind of low in December, in mid-December. Okay, because there's a lot of correlation between a lot of these industries. Okay, so we've been in a run since December, mid-December. So we went from that high down to oversold area. So anybody can tweet or say anything when the market is oversold. It's going to go up because it's oversold. Okay. What else is it going to do? It does not stay low like that. Never does. It always comes back up at some point. Now, what we're looking for to know for sure if this really is the top, and I should have waited and not made the call. The thing to do, and this is going to be, and I learned my lesson. I'm gonna implement this lesson when in all discussions about Bitcoin. Okay, you wait, you let it fall to get to oversold state. Then you let the momentum carry the price back up to overbought state. You see how high it goes. It came back up, halfway, and we flipped again. Now, the tell will be when we get back down here to the oversold state, will we make a lower low? If we make a lower low, game over. Game over. You don't mess with it. Now, for me, this would spook me that the momentum that brought the price down when it returned to the overbought area, the buying wasn't vigorous enough. Let me say it another way. The market didn't see the value in home builders enough to drive the price up to here the way they did when it was here. So same price level here is here. This momentum took the price all the way up to 47. This momentum, not so much. So, and then you got, if I was to show this on a monthly, that's not worth it. What I was going to show you is that this momentum, that's why y'all don't really see me putting up volume a lot, because volume has been leaving the daggone home builders, at least this ETF, since 2009. So we have here what's called divergence. So that's why I don't really look at volume, but this automatically comes up. But I mean, I will look at it or care about it if we get a huge spike that just completely obliterate, these other volume levels. But this is like participation in the trade diminishing over time. So maybe, so people have been kind of not too motivated about the home sector in terms of volume anyway. But all that to say, without any fundamental guidance, without any data of home sales, reports from the government, just the stock chart alone, these people who are technical traders, they went pessimistic on housing long ago. And this current candlestick where we are is also telling. I've talked a lot about bullish and bearish engulfing. You see the body of this red candlestick here, it engulfs the green here. So this is optimism. This pessimism engulfs it. The wick is higher, I mean a higher high and a higher low, and the body is higher. So this is what's known as a bearish engulfing candlestick, which strongly suggests we are going down. Now, how far we go down, we'll see. So on the weekly chart, I'll be watching not rooting, because I don't care what it does one way or the other. I move my money based on what the momentum and the price levels say. If it makes a lower low, we know that's a continuation sign of a downtrend. But if it gets to this level of deeply over sold, then as long as this thing is making lower lows, then I would not be motivated about getting back in it. But I just brought this up just to show how early the technicals lead the way. Some big money people knew to get out of this and not be so motivated about coming back. Now, that's all we know for a fact. There's no debate that the price here is not as high as this price here. And the momentum here, overbought state here, took the price up to here. But the overbought state here didn't return it to that level. It's that basic. Why people were not as vigorous about buying it right now, we don't know. We don't know. Maybe we'll know later, but people in that industry, home builders themselves and bankers, they know. In fact,
interest rates will play a pretty big role in
you are absolutely right. Because that's you can qualify for a loan. Right.
I'm dealing with that right now because I've got one property that I'm selling, and that will net a very nice return. And then we're going to go in and buy another property that I'm actually eyeballing right now for that. But that's exactly what's going on in interest rates. And we have one person who was supposed to sell. They were having a little bit of a hard time.
Right. I'm about to turn it. I just want y'all to see. I clicked on constituent.
So interest rates play a role.
You're right. You're there. That's crucial. That's absolutely crucial. People cannot afford to pay more for the mortgage unless they're income is also rising so that they can still get the same debt to income ratio, because the bank is, they still going to require the debt to income ratio to be right before they make that loan.
Well,
And
like
if
I
the
said,
bank don't make up that loan, you got to dig in your pocket and come out with a bigger down payment. And people are not trying to do that. So if you're ever looking at an ETF and you want to know what's inside of it, you click on constituents and you see big names, Pulte Homes, Future Brand, NVR, DR Horton, yada, 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 Lennar,
Lennar's a
Toll
big one.
Brothers, all the, of course, they throw in Lowe's and Home Depot because everybody with a house ends up there. But so I just wanted to, that's just a technical view. And yes, I'm a purist. The technicals have never steered me wrong. We don't always know exactly why the price is moving like it is. But if, we get comfortable not knowing why. We get the information later, but we've protected our money until the information comes.
You certainly want to take a look at it. I mean, right now they're saying if interest rates hit about 7%, then we'll look at the housing market really taking a hit. Right now, you can get 3.5% right now on a house. Interest rates. So there's still there's still room. There's still room to play. Certain markets in this country are very hot. Where I am in the Connecticut area and so forth, and in the southern tier of New York and so forth, pretty hot markets. Definitely going out into the West Coast and moving into areas like where my friend is, where I'm looking at potentially buying another property out in Arizona, in that area, booming, rocking and rolling. So we're thinking that the real cap on this is at about 6.5%. That will kind of shut this whole game down, and they're trying to keep that. They're trying to keep the interest rates down from that. So right now you can do 3%. You still have some 2% deals out there right now going on with banks, depending on your credit and the cash you're coming up with and so forth. So there's still room in the game. I'm in it. Like I said, I traded. I'm in it. I'm putting my money where my mouth is, and that's kind of where we're at right now. But I think this will slow down once the interest rates rise higher, which we will certainly see. And some of the big players who are sitting back, who are pulling back a little bit. If you're an institutional investor, fourth market, that type of guy, and you're looking at this move, you're going to start to pull back a little bit as well, because the interest rates are definitely going to rise and are going to slow some things down. So I think that's the big play here, certainly for real estate. Real estate, it's always a good investment. It's just depending on the time you get in to buy something. If you buy it high, it's going to take you a little bit longer to actualize, a bigger profit than you would with somebody who came in lower. But overall, it's always a good investment, and I'd say and for those not looking to sell very quickly, you can constantly with respect to the renting, because when the interest rates go up and people are not going to buy, they're going to rent. So you kind of.
I'm not hearing the going. Is he borging for you guys?
Yeah,
If you're flipping, it's a different story. Oh, can you hear me? You can't hear me too well?
Now we do.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
All right. I'm saying if you're flipping, it's one thing, but if you're buying for more of a long term, real estate is always a good investment to get into.
Right. And from the technical side, this is why these types of it's a different, you got to keep it straight. If you listen, you're going to have to pick your team. If you're going to root for your home team, or you're going to pick another team, when you have a fundamental investor like Nagone, you have a technical trader like me, we're not going to agree, because there's certain theories that we subscribe to that either they don't know or don't accept it as valid. And so they're just never going to agree. So that's why I'm saying you have to write down who's saying what, including on television, on CNBC. Write down their name and write down who said what. When you see an article that you think, somebody's making a bold statement, either that the market's going to go higher or lower. Make a PDF file. Do not save the link because they're going to take the article down. They do it all the time when they're wrong. Okay, you must make a PDF file of it, and over time, and I'm going to start doing this now on my channel. I was trying not to make this a war, but it's going to have to be now. I'm gonna declare war on fundamental traders right now. It's fucking war. I'm gonna kill that in the manosphere. I'm gonna just show and prove. I accept the burden of doing the research and bringing the facts that I know people will not bring. But I apologize for tonight.
Bring facts, but it's all speculation.
I will do your work for you because I have nothing to gain here. But I will do your work because you won't. I don't mean you exclusively independent. I mean all of you fundamental traders out there everywhere. Everyone that has ever said real estate is always a good investment or gold is always a good investment. I'm going to show you.
It is.
It is absolutely.
It is.
There won't be any killing. There won't be any killing in the manosphere or on this panel. But
no.
Because bullets don't got no name on it, so
no, it's just
we want to make sure we make that clear.
Oh yeah. This is vigorous debate, but we're gonna go with the red pill truth, okay?
But you know what, Dollar Will, if you prove me wrong, I'm gonna dox you.
Oh.
That was a joke.
Because Nagon, be honest.
It's not debate.
When you were on
it's not debate when you live in it.
When you say that again? Say that again.
Yes, it's not debate to me when I'm living it. Anyway, go ahead.
Right, and I'm going to
go ahead,
right, and I'm going to explain what you mean so you can understand what you mean when you're saying. Because I don't think you don't understand what you mean.
Man,
if I put up a chart of the Dow, if I put
that crap, boy. You talking to a grown ass man? Here.
Okay,
keep it moving. You talking to a grown ass man, so keep it moving on that.
Not grown enough.
What you talking about, son?
Enough.
Oh shit, son! I'm older than your ass. I'll piss on your head.
Well, we're not talking chronology.
Let's keep it moving. Okay. Let's keep moving.
Okay, well, just accept the lesson, man. We have the humility to accept.
Go ahead. Well.
Okay, hold on. The question I want to ask.
Stop it.
This is an integrity question. I need you to answer correctly to determine whether this is going to be we get ready to come on a crucial point in our interaction, because I need you to answer this with some integrity, because you was on Wall Street, and you telling me on Wall Street, it's people with much more experience than you. You never met anybody that was a technical purist that was successful.
I met all kind of people that were successful on Wall Street.
I asked you about technical.
Yeah, so a technical purist. So if you're gonna ask me, have I met a technical purist who was successful? Yeah, I met technical peers who were successful. I met Jack Boners that we used to call that were out there throwing shit against the wall that was successful. I met a lot of types on Wall Street, fam. Good. Let me just be frank with you about that. All right. Now,
I just want to eliminate.
I know you never traded on the. I know you never traded on the street. I know you never traded on Wall Street. I know you never on level 3.
Because I never won. Because I
understand where you come from.
I didn't.
But I hear you.
I didn't. Let me finish this. The reason why I just wanted that clear, I want to eliminate the inference that professional people on Wall Street, there aren't people there that espouse my point of view that are also successful. I just wanted you, and you answered that correctly. So you still get an integrity point.
Well, you have so much speculation. That's what we talk about. Speculation. That's we have so many different views and guys who have different views on the game. I'm a very fundamental guy. I deal with fundamentals. I deal with the numbers. I do believe the fundamentals of a company will play out over time. I believe if you got very low debt, you have high earnings in the stock, I believe over time that will play out. Now, during it may not look great, but over time it will play out. That's what I believe. I've seen all kind of stories fly. I've seen all kind of shit go on the street. I've seen a lot of craziness go down. All right, that's a part. That's a part of it. Over time, over any given period, you can't say, you know, it's time X. X is a time factor. X, whatever that time is.
By that measure,
right?
you're
over time,
be right.
Over a longer period, and that's it. It may not be immediate.
No, you're
you may
right.
have a company that may be fundamentally strong and may not be performing well at this point, but over time, over the months, over a year, over a given period, this thing it should play out, and that's how I really look at it. You're no expert. I know guys that piss all over you.
And hold on.
Okay, I know players.
You're no expert.
I'm not talking about rep. I'm talking about players. So okay, I'm just looking at where this game is and how I've seen it since the 80s. Okay, and that's all I'm saying. Okay, you have your opinions, but don't come here saying, "Hey, I'm the man." Well, you ain't. You know, you're just another dude out here, just another joker in the court. Okay, that's kind of where we are, and we want to be clear about that.
Okay, whoever you think that's good, hold on, Mike, hold on now. I'm a joker now, says him. Okay, whoever you think.
No. I'm not saying joker. I said there are a lot of jokers in the court.
Get this out.
And let's say I'm a joker in the court as well.
No. Hold on. That's just. I want to get this out. It's gonna help everybody. It will help you, help me, help everybody. Whoever you think is better than me, let's go there. I made it personal. Bring their articles and information, and let's see if I'm better than them, equal to them, or how far off from them I am. And then we'll just see what it is. Bring them forward. Right, I'm not boxing against no ghosts. And if the
dollar will. How much money have you made on the street?
Now, on your statement about fundamental analysis, this is very important to everybody, Mike.
Go ahead. I mean, it's cool. I don't want to get into pissing match with you.
When we say something like in a given time period, stocks generally go up over time. If they're
fundamentally sound.
Let me
sound. Okay, just put that caveat in there.
I'm repeating what you said. I asked you to define given time, and you were imprecise. Okay, and under that imprecise standard,
because you can't be exactly precise over how a stock will perform. You cannot be precise, absolutely precise about it. You can predict, and that's the best you can do.
No, let me make my point, man. Technical analysis is more than 100 years old. Major reversals or corrections, however you want to look at it, pullbacks. You cannot predict it to the dollar. But a general area, you can absolutely predict it. Even in the span of time, let's say 2 years from now, when I say that I called the top in January of 2018, and it was false for one index, but correct on another, people are going to look at the degree that I was off and say, well, hell, that was close enough. That's why I keep mentioning it, because it's laughable. If technical analysis gets you that close, that's good enough. The goal, see, that's the thing. Market technicians, we never say that we're going to call it right to the penny. And so when we are off by a few percentage points, people go, oh, well, it doesn't work. Well, we never say
I agree. I don't disagree with you on that.
My point is, we name a price area of where the danger zone is. Now,
no,
give me the floor, man.
I disagree with you, fam.
Come on,
relax, man. Take it easy, baby.
Mute, man. Mute. I
Take
need
it easy,
I
baby.
need people locked in to this wisdom I'm putting down without a mumbling word from you.
Man, you're well. Come on, baby.
Can you just mute up, man? Can you mute up?
Okay, I'll mute up. I'll mute up, baby. I'm mute up, baby. I'm
Give me
mute
the
up.
whole floor. Because those of you that are subscribed to me, you're going to be learning the truth, and you're going to be outside the mainstream, and people are going to come for you. And the only vindication you're going to feel is from your from the, I guess, the precision or the close range that you're going to get it when you make your calls. Two things I ask you to say, ask all fundamental traders. When they say over time, get them to define that. When we make a price projection, we call an area and we put it on tape. Y'all got 1 year of me making projections on this channel and on my own. Okay? When fundamental traders, second thing you ask them, when do you sell? And their answer is going to be when the numbers change. I just showed you a picture of the housing ETF was negative long before the number, and the numbers technically, or the fundamental data, is slowing down. It has not reversed. The rate of increase has decreased, but it has not reversed. But I just showed you on that ETF money being lost in that ETF.
As I said, once again, you have to look at interest rates, and we started seeing interest rates start to climb. You start to see that this is normal. And when you sit there and you ask me about, well, tell me, when the stock, when the stock price will go up or go down, and give me a time frame. We're not talking about a specific stock. So I can't tell you what it will be and what industry we're talking about. I'm just giving you a general overall view that a stock that's fundamentally sound over time will tend to perform. So what I'm saying is, as I would do, and as an investment advisor and as a stockbroker, Series 7, 63, Series 10 license, all right, all that butter laid shit.
And if they don't know technical analysis, run.
And I was sitting down. Well, of course I know technical analysis, but you got to know fundamental analysis as well. Okay, you have to understand. I was tested on that. Were you? Okay, so the question comes down to be, this is how the game is played. So I understand both sides of the fence. Me, three-dimensional dude. I'm sharp as fuck. I'm butter late, so I'm gonna know what's going on. Okay, but at the end of the day, all right, when we look at this, I have a certain view of investing. You may have a different one. All right, that's fair enough. All right. That's certainly fair enough. But you say, well, I'm right, I'm the expert. And I'm like, okay, fine, you can say that. But at the end of the day, is that really the truth? Hey, listen, we all have some different views. It's good to get this information out there. All right. It's good for people to listen to maybe what you have to say, look at your fundamental views and your Fibonacci and everything else like that you go with. Then you'll have other people who go more from a fundamental perspective. And you and I had this kind of debate also on BGS's channel last year or whatever, from a fundamental perspective. Well, I don't really play the fundamental game. And I was like, yeah, you do it a little differently. And I'm with it. I don't have an issue with that. But I know, just as one who's a trader understands the game. All right. That
okay.
that a couple different ways you have to look at this.
So
and and no one has been a pure expert. The only people who've been pure experts and have determined how things are going to go, and not those who are manipulating the market. Now, there's a great degree of market manipulation, and when you understand the fourth market or the incident market and the institutional players, you'll see that's another level of manipulation that's legally played that a lot of the players play on. And we can talk about that in some detail if you want to, but as of right now, I'm not going to sit here and argue against what analysis is actually better, because both have done well. That's why you said, well, have you seen purists do well? I've seen purists do well, and I've seen fundamentalists do well. I've seen a lot of different people do very well in the market.
Have you studied technical analysis? Have you studied technical analysis in practice? Any significant amount?
I've studied technical. I've studied technical analysis. You had to also know a lot of that also for your exam. You had to get involved with that, of course, when you're dealing in trading applications and dealing with certain kind of firms you would deal with that wanted you to kind of play that game, and then you wanted to deal with more of the fundamentals. So we played all sides. So I'm not saying what you're saying is wrong and say, hey man, fuck Dollar Will, he's wrong. No man, I ain't saying that at all. I'm just saying that there are a couple of different views that people need to take a look at. And if here in the Brain Trust, if we're going to talk about analysis and looking at it, one should know the technical side. One should understand somewhat of the fundamental side of the game as well, and look at both and kind of make some decisions from there. And just like I think it was Mike was saying, hey, listen, at the same time, talk to your financial advisor. But boom, any advice we're going to have, don't take it as us being advisors and so on and so forth. Go to your financial advisor and talk it out. And that's the best thing. I don't mind you and me debating certain things technically. I don't have an issue with that. I like to trade more from a standpoint of looking at a company's hardcore fundamentals. I like looking at PE ratios. I like looking at debt to equity ratios. I like to see if the company's got a lot of debt, all right, but yet it's in an industry also, and I take a look at the industry. They're in an industry,
just to bring this conversation, just to bring this conversation,
and they're on the right side. Let's play it. Real estate is a great investment. It has shown this to be true over centuries. So I'm not questioning that a lot. If you want to talk about for immediate short term or relative period, yeah, I mean, it may have its issues. But if you're going to play a long term game of real estate, you're technically not going to lose, or very rare do you lose, and that has been true.
The
true
problem
in this country
with that,
since its inception.
The flaw in what you just said.
It's flawed.
Let me. I'm explaining.
Anyway, I gotta move
on. What's flawed with it? I'm 55. What are you? 60 in the area of 60? They're gone.
Me. I'm a little older than you are, but I would say I'm 21 plus. Anyway, go ahead.
All right.
Go ahead.
At the various ages we are, especially when we're talking to people who are sniffing at the retirement age, or you might be at the retirement age, for all I know. When you're looking at a decline, like say what happened during the Great Depression, what happened in 2007, that dip down to 2009, and what I would say the majority, the consensus of technical traders, from my point of view, is that we're looking at a decline of that kind of magnitude right now. So for older people, that no financial planner worth their salt will tell an older person just buy real estate or gold because it's a safe investment. No, it depends on your time horizon. So somebody that's 20 years old, I still wouldn't do it. I would rather know and just duck it and get out. But somebody 20 years old that's investing right now, and if this market goes to hell, they're young enough that they can overcome it, but they're going to pretty much be guaranteed to work until they're old, because it's going to take them a long time to get back to this level. But over time, somebody that's 55, 60, or somebody that's 35, damn it, and don't want to work all their life and they want a chance to retire early. You absolutely must not have that point of view. And I'm not a financial advisor. It's just my opinion. I'm just some dude on YouTube that know what the hell he's talking about. But I'm not responsible.
It's an opinion. It's an opinion, and it's fair enough. And it's fair enough.
I'm giving out information to help guide you so that you can learn to make some of the same projections that I make and how I do.
You teach me what to do. You teach me what to do.
Bring this. Let me bring. Hold on, to bring the conversation where we started. When Mike made us some declarations as certain fact, my position is prove it. And I'm telling you, if you want to know the truth, you must not accept what conventional wisdom is just because everybody believes it. Prove it. Start collecting your data to know the truth.
Just look at any chart and look at any real estate. Just look at any real estate buying chart and take a look at where a given property was bought, let's say in the 20s, and where that property is today, and it's game fucking over.
Oh, of course.
Right? Okay.
That's my first video on my channel.
That's really all I'm saying, and so I mean, I'm not trying to split hairs here. So I just, if you want to start getting into, well, is he 55 or it's not good, but it's 22, it's better. I mean, we can all get into those different things. I'm saying,
you know how old somebody is right now if they were around in 1929.
What will generally work? I could sit down and talk about the people, let's say the Levittown and Levittown, where they bought property at $8,000 in 1945. That property is now worth $450,000, $500,000.
There's nobody disagreeing with that.
Okay. We know this. Okay. Redlining was based on it. They redline your ass based on shit like that. So so at the end of the day, so yeah, only thing I'm saying is this is generally what I'm saying. And that's what I'm saying. So
all I'm
arguing about.
All I'm saying is price corrections can be not exactly predicted, but you can get very close enough with technical analysis to know when the odds are not in your favor, and you can make a
and that's for the relative short term. If we're gonna play long term, that's for the relative short term. Okay, you want to play the relative long term.
No,
if you want to play for the relative long term, that's what we're looking at.
The technical trader. If I pull up a monthly chart, if I pull up a monthly chart,
how they say the time,
how are you going to say well the short term? You saying things like over the long haul and short term, and I ask you how long you talking about? You don't never have no damn answer.
So, okay, 5 years.
And everybody
okay. If you want to we're not talking about anything specifically, but if you want to ask this, I'll say 5 years.
Everybody knows that I
generally a 5-year plan.
And I go to barchart.com because they have
this dude. All right. Anyway,
I'm showing you technical corrections.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I'm out.
I'm talking short term. Don't do that. Don't take what I'm saying and fit it into your narrative.
Oh, Dollar Will, come on, man. We done on this, baby. Let's go to the next thing. We're wasting time now. Okay, I got you. I hear you, man. I'm with you, baby. I'm with you.
On my very first video on my channel, I go back about 200 years. Don't dare project me as a short-term person or that technical analysis only works for the short term. No, you don't know Elliott wave theory because you wouldn't say that what you just said.
No, I didn't say that. I said it could be for the relative short term. Look, I didn't say that. You're saying that in every case. I'm not saying that. Yo, Dollar Will, man. Chill, baby. We done on this. All right, we done. I understand you trying to figure if your Johnson's longer than mine. I know what's going on here. All right, you are incapable of putting someone like me in a lane. It's not
I just
possible.
did it tonight.
Okay, so at the
and
end of the day, let's move on.
Because now that you take,
you didn't do it tonight. You didn't do it tonight at any level. It didn't happen.
It's gonna be fun to go in 11.
All right. It didn't happen. It didn't happen.
Okay.
What was that?
I say it's going when I bring forward the information to prove the thing's wrong, but I guess it's impossible to prove you wrong.
Okay. So Jeremy is saying. So you're saying real estate is a bad investment. It's generally not that good of an investment. Is what you're saying.
What? No, you tell me what I said. You tell me. I'll tell you what you.
Man, I don't know. I don't know what the fuck you talking about. But anyway, let's move on, man.
What is my point of view on real estate and gold? What is my point of view?
Hey, I want to make sure before we close out that we touch on the few staples in the markets using your bar chart analysis.
Okay, so it's ready. It's my time to look at charts.
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna say what I was about to say and segue to this. My point is, nothing goes up forever. Prices oscillate. That's Dow theory. which all the people, Nagone knows that. He knows Dow theory very well. He just, prices don't just go up straight like a straight line. They oscillate. They have natural pullbacks. And they do this on every time frame. Okay, so I'm going to go to the quarterly. So let me get my, okay. Crap, get rid of this. Okay. All right. What I was trying to do with this was just what my plan was tonight. Like I said, I'm long term. This is barchart.com. They have a nifty tool here, a matrix. And what I like about this right here, it has a 10-year slot. And this is 2019, 10 years from this year is 2009. That's about when that's the year that the Dow and S&P kind of took off. And so I like the fact that in this matrix, we can at a glance basically see what sectors made the money. Okay, so it's consumer discretion. That's when I see discretion, I think stuff you don't need, stuff you like, but don't necessarily need. Okay, when you got extra money, that's going to be your Netflix and when they call them FANG, your Facebook, Apple, Netflix, Amazon, and Google. Okay, so they got a whole lot of that. They drove a lot of this. But you'll see, you got consumer discretionary. Of course, nobody's surprised to see technology there. Healthcare really went on a roll. Industrials, banks, of course, you got to get a loan to fuel all of that. Consumer staples, you're bringing up. This is the bottom half, the bottom laggers. I mean, the people, the real money, of course, was here. That's over the 10 years. This is your Procter & Gamble, and these are your utility companies and real estate. And the real estate came on later. It drives, it picks up. Okay, now 5 years. You kind of see real estate picking it up. Okay, IT went to number one. Consumer discretion is still there. So kind of do this so that look at long range information, which is what I've always taught in the videos to prove it. I have you look at things by industry. Everyone knows that Dollar Will does not buy company stocks. I buy whole industry sectors, entire sectors. Okay, I don't care about looking to see if the CEO is getting fired or if the CFO is stealing money or if there's a class action lawsuit against the company. I don't care about that. Okay, I follow the US dollar. That's why I'm Dollar Will, because that's going to keep you tied into the movement of big things like energy and metals, which is at the foundation of the industrialized economies. Because you need energy to move everything, to run those factories. So it all is going to come out in energy. And so that dollar trade between energy and metal, that's the foundation of what I do. And I don't, if I go beyond that, it will be to buy an ETF that will concentrate, say, entirely on technology or entirely on discretionary items. If I'm concerned about diversification, I will buy several industry ETFs and create my own diversification. But I pick the individual industries. Now, that's my style. I used to pick individual companies, but like I said, I don't care to read all that news about the company's business. Okay. All right. A year ago from this day or month, real estate did pretty good. Energy, oil, struggling. Okay. You can kind of, so I'm just showing you this so you can kind of step through this on your own. And this is year to date. This is from January 1st till now. It's as close as we can get to the mid-December. What started this run we're in right now started around Christmas or in the middle of December. And we see that real estate has done very well in that period. This is just covering from Christmas, from January to now. It's actually a little higher if we go back to Christmas Eve, about where this started. Okay, but this is just giving you an idea of where the money went. But I just showed you on that ETF for housing that although we made the trip back from oversold to overbought, the price did not make a higher high. Now, although we broke that ascending support, we cannot conclude that we are trending down until we make a lower low, until we go below that low in December. We're in a neutral position. I guess people wouldn't print that number. For me, I would not hold waiting or hoping that the price turn around. For me and what I'm doing, get your own financial advisor. Me, I'm taking the position that we are going to make a lower low, and if the price makes a higher high, then I'll have enough time and take for seconds to turn your position around and go the other way. No big deal. Okay. So that's where the money's been going since basically the first of the year. Real estate, IT, communication services, consumer discretionary. Okay. All right. Healthcare. Wow. I'm surprised that it didn't participate. That's amazing. All right. So the saying is sell in May and go away. It's not true every May, but it has been true a lot of them. If you want to check it, get a monthly chart and just look back, you're going to see, that a lot. It's not like 100%, but this year it's pretty ugly. What you're going to see is the word bear or inverse or short. These are all what it sounds like they are. They're shorting oil, shorting semiconductors. This is shorting crude oil, more oil. They just banged on oil for the last month, making 65%. So somebody won. Somebody's always winning. Somebody, just keep that in mind. When the news comes on, they show you all that blood in the street. You have to pull out your computer and come to bar chart and do some research and find out who's making money. Don't stay in that mental state of, oh, everything's losing money. No, somebody's always winning somewhere. So come over and do the research yourself. Okay. Let's see. I think I'm gonna pull this back.
Can we look at some of these individual stocks like Walmart?
Yeah, I'm gonna work to it. I'm gonna try to speed it up. I want people to really learn about this tool too. It's on a site called stockcharts.com, and it's called predefined groups. It's called Market Carpet, and you'll see it. And you can put a start and an end date. See, I'm gonna move this bar down here in the bottom, but keep your eye right here. So this is how, I think around the 3rd or something was when the market started falling. So you can go look at, let's say, the Dow, the S&P, and you can see when the market started coming down, and you can use this site to see where the money went. If you want to pick out individual companies, you can see who made the money from May 3rd to the 31st, and you can see who lost the money. Okay. There's another, and then that gets you industries, because this is what I care about. I mean, I'm not, if people want to buy individual stocks, that's your thing. I already made it clear, I don't do that. I want to know the industries sector that's making the money. Okay, so May 3rd to March 31st. Well, the other time you were on the go, we were talking about utilities, and I was telling you then, and it may have been about 3 weeks ago when you and I was having that conversation. And over that time period, we just nothing really, from May 3rd to now, nothing made money. The safest place was what? Utilities. Okay, utilities, and that's going to be the place for now. Consumer staples, I'm gonna be, for the short term, it looks good, but I see some trouble ahead, even for consumer staples. That's scaring the heck out of me, which is making me even more sure that the downturn is going to be ugly, because this consumer staples is not even going to be the safe haven after after a few weeks, because it depends on how quickly it takes to get to these particular levels. We're not far from it on the consumer staples ETFs, and then things look kind of rocky. Now, since May 7th, I want to show. I'm going to change the date in favor. I'm gonna bias this in favor of utilities. I'm admitting that I'm biasing it in favor of utilities. I'm gonna move the start date of the time period from May 8th to now. I want to know that during the time, since over that long period, utilities was the safest place to be. You didn't make money, but you lost less than 1%, of your money. So it was the safest place to be. But now I'm going to see how things look if I measure since May 8th. Okay. Oh, crap. Okay. Find this tool, bookmark it, drag it, and put it on your desktop. This thing is, so, okay. Still, at least you got positive, a point in the 1.6, no money, but look at everything else. So it's been pretty ugly this month, that the only place to hide out really was utilities. And I was talking about utilities back in December. So, because in that decline from around, I think it was October to Christmas Eve. Now, this is something I do. Every time there's a major decline, I always want to know who made the money, who lost the money, meaning what industries made the money, what industries lost the money. And you write that information down, and that playbook has a way of repeating itself. Okay, so a lot of times when I'm making these calls, it's because I've witnessed what happened before in history, not just last year, but going back to other major downturns over several decades. Okay, especially when you get to the point where technology and housing and things like that are overbought on. We're talking monthly and quarterly charts, long range charts like that, and overbought. So that playbook, if you Google the term sector rotation, and you'll see Wall Street people telling you what I'm telling you right now. This is how it works. This is how it works. James Cramer does an excellent job explaining this in all of his books. This is how it really works on Wall Street. Okay. All right. Exxon. I did talked about Exxon in the past. I thought this thing would have died already, but I'm not surprised that what it's doing. This is a quarterly chart. As I said, I'm always looking long term, and this goes back to 1987. Okay, and what we got here is a head and shoulders pattern. You got a head, a left shoulder, a right shoulder. The critical point that all of the automated trading systems are looking at. They're looking to see this price point right here, around 55.94. That's what they're looking for. If this price goes below this level, these automated computers are going to signal sell. That's another reason why I say to you, Google this yourself. How much do computers control trading? Just start checking, see if I'm overstating it. Computers control so much of the trading or movement of money. Those computers are not programmed to see what Trump said. They're looking at volume and trades. Now, okay, somebody a lot. Yeah, I'm gonna just leave that right there. Okay, now, so just know that if you're looking at Exxon, you need to be mindful as Exxon continues to fall. If it goes below this 55, you'll get it. So don't just. It's not enough for you now that you're on the, you guys hanging out on the brain trust. You got to go deeper for the information. Don't just go for the headlines, what they say on TV. Bring up your charts and come look at it for yourself, and save this video. And so you'll see that the high was here. What was the most significant low prior to this high? Right here. As long as this price stays above this point, the people that are bullish, I can't argue against them, because we haven't made a higher high and we haven't made a lower low. So it's just kind of, trading along, but it has a downward tilt. But hey, it hasn't made a lower low. So we don't know. But I'm telling you, from my, just from my thesis, and you as a technical trader, it's your obligation to create your own projections and your own thesis. And you, after having done a lot of work looking at the charts of a particular thing, you're going to have an opinion. That's the point of it. And the point is for you to get better at making those opinions over time. And so oil is going down. Exxon is going down. That's my opinion. And we'll see. And the point is for not just, hey, I'm so smart and look at my opinion. The reason why I'm on here every Friday night is for you to try to learn this. I'm not showing off. I think I'm teaching. I'm trying to do that. But you guys are going to have to get in this in these charts and try to learn this stuff. All right. Moving on down. I'm not going to get into the craft, but craft is one of them that I'm interested in. It looks pretty good. I'm going to do something on this later. This might be ready to go. Might be moving a little higher. This thing has been dying for a long time. And don't let nobody say it's because dude got arrested. The Kraft is the guy that owns the New England Patriots. That Super Bowl was just played. This thing has been declining since February of 2017. But watch on television. I guarantee you, some moron on television is going to say that it's because he got arrested at a daggone massage parlor. And so, all right, go to the charts. All right. Google. I'm gonna skip on past it. I'm gonna get right to the Dow and the S&P. Okay. I've talked about this particular pattern. It's a megaphone pattern, and it's I'll just leave it at that. You can Google it on Investopedia or look back in past videos. Investopedia. Same thing here. We went up to overbought, got the price high, went down to oversold. We're on a weekly chart, went back up to overbought without this is the S&P. I think the S&P did make a new high, but the Dow did not. Yes, that's what that's what it was. So this was when I was wrong about the S&P right here. So the ultimate high was here. To me, that's trivial. So the high says 29.54.13. I published this call in that first video it was in January of 2018, something like January the 14th. I didn't say I said this area. I said this was the end. This was it. Then I said it earlier on BGS or whatever. All right. So this high is 29.54 and this high is 28.72. So we're talking about, what are we talking? 80 points off. But it took from January of 2018 to let me see. Hold on. Yeah, I want to make sure I was right. January of 2018 to April of this year. So we're talking about a year and what's that, 3 months or whatever, to go sideways to just make about 70 or 80 points. That too is a sign that the money is less vigorous in coming into the market. If I had a volume indicator, you'd see that too, but we don't need to go through that. So it broke the trend line here, huge, spike, momentum going down, weekly chart, momentum direction doesn't jump around as much on a weekly chart as it does, say, on a daily chart. So you always see me looking at the longer terms, going from quarterly out. I do that every time. And as I announced on my channel, I'm just now experimenting with day trading because I'm not a day trader. Okay, I'm a swing trader. Okay, so people on my channel, you're gonna hear me experimenting with day trading and futures trading because there's some fast money being made there. All right, so here's the Dow. Remember, the S&P made the high in April of this year. The Dow, the high was in October of last year. So the Dow has, just like Exxon had that head and shoulders pattern, so does the Dow. And it broke the trend. And I had these markings on from a previous time showing that the trading range was narrowing. And it broke, just like I thought. And I pointed out way back here when we were overbought. And I said, with the range narrowing, and we're already overbought near a prior high at a Fibonacci extension level. All of those things said that the smarter thing to do would be to take your money and go sit down. Now, the thing is, with me being live, I can't lie because it's on the tape, So that's that. The Dow. So this high was 26,951, and I thought this was it, and the high was 2616. So let's say what about let's just say 330 points or whatever. I mean, hey, it is what it is. I wasn't right. But when I started and getting into technical analysis, I never expected that I would be right by getting it right here. Being this close, a couple, 2 or 3%, a small percentage point off, that was always my goal. So at 26,616, 1% would be 266 points. I'm about 300 and something. So let's just say I'm definitely, when I call this as the high, I was within 2% of being right. And for me, that's good enough for me. And so if you trying to top that as a technical trader, I'm not saying you can't. I'm saying that's good enough for me. And I know that there are people out there better who can get it right to it. But if you wait for the data, the fundamental data, the price will already have you would have lost money in your retirement account that you would not have lost if you were a fundamental investor and if you were a technical style trader and use fundamental data secondarily. They're not equal. Technical data is superior. Okay. Now we have here a world ETF. It's called URTH, and this has, let's just see. Click on profile here if you ever want to know. It's the track the investment results, and it's composed of developed market equities. And so that's the United States and Europe, the most developed economies in the world. And that's why I'm always saying it's one world. When we talk about cryptocurrency and all that stuff, I always say it's just one world. It's just one world, one big global economy. And this ETF, which has it's a composite of the developed world stock markets. This looks nasty too. because this big red candlestick, this high is not taking it out here, and we'll see what it does. It's either this price has got to go higher or it's got to go lower, but this momentum indicator on this quarterly chart, because I'm not a short-term investor, I always have the long-term point of view in mind, and the tape shows that that is the way that I think and trade. That this momentum and indicator is showing you that it's been moving, the momentum has been moving down since the third quarter of last year. So the third quarter would be like what, August, September, something like that. Yeah. Yeah. So it's been moving down for that long. We'll see what happens. But this should scare, this ain't nothing to play with either. When you're looking at the global economy, I mean, the developed nations, the index of those stock markets showing you that it's trending down. So I don't wait for fundamental data to confirm it. You can sit down and talk to your financial advisor, take all the stuff that I say and run it by them, and make your own decision. Definitely do not listen to me. I'm not a certified financial planner. I'm just a YouTube guy, but I'm right a lot. Okay.
Can you
mhm.
Andy in the chat says Tesla.
Okay.
Can you
Definitely.
look at Tesla's chart?
Definitely. Thank you. He just
Yeah.
reminded me of a point that I wanted to make about it. Tell me, when did Elon Musk make that comment that got him in trouble? Was that May? I tried to look it up. Was it May of last year? May 21?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sometime it was that second quarter.
Okay. I'm saying, why is my daggone thing not? Oh crap! It's not. It doesn't want me to do it. Let me try to do it here. Tesla. Because I want to show you a technical trader's view of things. Okay, this was the price high for Tesla. It was September 18th, 2017. That was the price high. I'm going to zoom in so we can get this May thing. Where's the May 21? Oh, this is it right here. Okay, so we hit the low here, then we made a high. A common thing that we're going to do in technical trading, I told everybody about the, if you know about the Fibonacci extension, the golden mean, all trading systems are run pretty much by this number, 1.618, or in reverse 0.618, or you can just think of it as roughly 62%. Okay, so when we get a nice little run and we start to see something coming down, it's a common thing that we do. We put the Fibonacci extension tool up and we measure the decline, because not always, but too many times to be chalked up to chance. The price will come in the area of that. I'm moving this so we can see the numbers better. Come in the area of that 62% retrace. So 100 minus 62 is 38. That's 38. Every technical trader would be looking for this price to fall here. We were, let's see, where's the 21st? The 21st was here. Let me go to a daily, because this is a weekly and that's going to skew it. Because I think he made that comment on the 21st. And the foremost proponent of Elliott wave theory is a guy named Robert Prechter. I sent out I think I did it in an email. It's everybody that's on the email chain, and you're on the email chain to go. I sent it where I believe. Let me withhold that. Let me confirm that. Let me not say that I sent it. I believe I did, but let me not. I will look for it and send it if I didn't. They give information a lot of times, for years, for decades. They like to poke the bear and poke at the fundamental people, and they point out every time a tweet or something happens and the market didn't do what was supposed to happen. Now, as I said, these extensions they're not 100%, but they give you a general idea. So when this price fell to that 62% level, technical traders, we're trained to regard that as a, especially if I was to put a diagonal resistance here and the price breaks that, and we're also oversold. So we're oversold at a 62% Fibonacci level. We're going to buy. And the Fibonacci extension tool gives you a rough idea of how high you're going to go. A lot of people will jump on this. A lot of swing traders, they're going to trade this definitely up to this area. Now, if they know more, there are ways you can stay in it to get closer to the actual end. But just showing you how technical traders use the tools of the Fibonacci extension tool and the oscillator on the daily chart. And the 21st was here. So this is the candlestick that everybody, let me zoom in, that people are talking about. Now, someone that's not a trader, of course, I understand why. I'm sorry, I don't mean to say someone that's not a trader. Someone that's not a technical trader, because that's not their style. They have their own style, and their style can work too. If because in a trends persist. That's the one rule about trends. Trend can go so long that everybody that's bullish is going to be right, but people will be bullish for different reasons. Okay. So this decline here on the this says the 22nd. So the 21st would have been here. So I guess they're saying that he made the statement on the 21st, and then the price dropped on the 22nd, I guess, because they would have to be saying that, because this is when what happened. And let's see, the low here on the 18th. The 18th would be a Friday. The low was, I'm looking in the information box, $274 even. And on the 22nd, this would be the Elon Musk effect. The low was 273 and 42 cents. So it went 58 cents below the low on Friday. Hopefully y'all see that why I say this. Come on now. Okay, so if you don't trade these technical levels because you're not a technical trader, I understand. But for a technical person that's in your midst, if you make that statement that that somebody's comment, to us, we see this as nothing structurally was wrong. That it's within the common parameters. There are books written about about the golden mean and golden ratio and ratio retraces of 62%. It's books have been decades of books written on it. So we're not a technical trader. We're not going to believe or buy into that when something predictable. This is what we would call near perfection. When this thing made a lower low right here, we're trained to go, okay, where's the 38% line? Okay, let's see what happens. If we get any higher highs or start moving sideways there, big money will come in and save it and push it higher. Okay, so the price start moving sideways on those little tiny candles. Okay, those tiny green candlesticks mean that the trading range is narrow. Oh, I got a crossover on the stochastic. Let's get in. Hopefully we'll go 62% above this. And it went higher. So from our point of view, market did what it's supposed to do. So that's all I'm saying. So it's different strokes. And so if you're out there trying to figure your way in trading, you're gonna have to make a decision. You're gonna have to figure out whether you're gonna primarily be a technical trader or primarily be a fundamental trader, because you can't sit there and the fundamentals are not going to tell you that you should trade, and the technicals are going to tell you that you should, and you're going to have to pick one. And so just know that you can't go forward trying to pray to two gods. You're gonna have to pick one. Okay. Let's see. What was this? I think that is it, unless there's something in particular that you want to look at, Mike.
No, that's good. I think you covered everything.
Okay. Nagone.
Nagone's gone.
No, he's not. I see his name there.
I think he stepped away.
Okay. I mean, I was
All right,
going.
so
I was going to extend a virtual handshake to my brother. It's just the thing when it gets borderline of impugning my professionalism. I put too much labor, decades into this, but I have these vigorous debates with other fundamental style traders. We have knockdown dragouts. We still get along. But when we talk about this subject, it's Redskins and Cowboys. Go Cowboys.
all right. Just as FYI, we are not certified financial planners. If you want a certified financial planner, please look up one in your area. Go to by going to CFP.net. And with that being said, I think we are done for tonight. Thank you all for joining us. Hit the like button if you have not already done so. Share the video if possible, and you can reference the document in the description beneath the video for your own reference.